Welcome back. My name is Kit.
I'm Phil.
Okay.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things, Streaming Star Wars, the very last of our streaming Star Wars series.
Wow.
We've been on a journey.
For a long time.
We've gone long ago, yeah.
In a galaxy far, far away.
How far? We don't know. At least 12 parsecs.
Yeah.
I wasn't here last week, so thank you guys for being patient with the plebs, Phil and Steve. They did their best with their Star Wars knowledge without me, I'm sure.
Me, a pleb.
Pretty ironic. You and Phil had to go solo on that episode.
Oh, I mean, we had each other.
That's true. So I hope you guys had fun. They didn't rank the episodes. That's one of the fun things that we do is we update our Star Wars Saga ranking at the end of each episode. So at the end of this episode, we're going to be completing the official Streaming Things ranking of all of the 11 movies in the Star Wars canon that we're covering, and including Solo, A Star Wars Story, and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
Yeah. Yes. Today is Rogue One, baby. Let's bring it home strong.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We'll see what's up.
Which before we move on, I want to commemorate this wrap up of a show of Star Wars. It means so much to me personally that A, Phil's here to be with us, and B, Kit, you've managed not that you're also here, but that you've managed
that you let me be on the show.
Yeah, you've let not only Phil be on the show, but you actually let us do Star Wars, and that's so fun.
Long time coming.
Long time coming. So
you've indulged us.
As we record today, it is May 5th. Yesterday was May the 4th. Mm-hmm. Be with you. Today is Revenge of the 5th, or Cinco de Mayo if you have sex. And so I thought, what better way to cap off this series of movies than to celebrate with
tequila,
blue milk.
Oh, yay.
Oh, no.
Hell yeah.
Are you ready
to try this?
A little bit of blue milk?
Sure. Does it taste blue?
No. It's like vanilla flavored.
Okay.
Ooh. So honestly,
is it like the blue ice cream?
No. Honestly, it tastes like, you know how when you have cereal and then the milk at the end of the cereal has like an extra sweet flavor?
One of the best parts of cereal.
It's just that.
Top 3 parts of cereal.
Pouring the blue milk over the soundboard. Mm-hmm. That is a man who lives on the edge.
Live dangerously. Hand me your glasses and I'll hand it back to you.
Full of milk, of course.
Full of milk.
Can I put rum in mine?
How about some Kahlua?
Ooh. Shall we cheers?
Let's cheers.
Should we cheers on Kit's camera?
No.
Okay.
We don't want to spill.
What if I spilled this on
your laptop?
Kit's laptop.
All right. Bottoms up, boys.
You have to do it Luke style and just really get in there.
Like wink.
Just like dripping down my beard. Yeah.
Mm. You're right.
That tastes like melted vanilla ice cream.
It tastes like a watered down milkshake, like the kind you would get at most places.
Yeah.
Like Dairy Queen or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
It took 11 movies, but we finally got to know what... Ooh, I like what you did there. We finally get to know what blue milk tastes like.
Baru, you were onto something.
Justice for Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
Yeah.
I'm sad that I wasn't here for the Solo movie because I hate that movie and I was going to have a lot of fun. But, we're back.
We're back, baby.
We're going to end on what we considered a high note with Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in alongside us for every step of this journey, and look forward to very soon. We got a couple of Patreon demanded movies to finish out that series. Next week, Attack the Block and When Harry Met Sally. And then after that, we're going to take a little reset. And the very next week, we're going to begin diving into our pre-The Boys Season 4 coverage, pre-House of the Dragon Season 2 coverage. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to kick off June, baby. June is a hot month. Lots of stuff going on.
Because it's summer.
Yeah.
Literally, yes. The temperature is rising. But also, in addition to the Boys and House of the Dragon, you got The Bear Season 3. You got
Acolyte.
The Acolyte, which I'm cooking. Mm-hmm. Ready for the Acolyte.
Looks great.
You can email the show at streamingthingspod@gmail.com just to join the conversation. You can contribute to the show financially, become a part of our community at patreon.com/streamingthings. But not for nothing, you get a variety of rewards, including access to our Discord community. And actually, I'm not going to go on ad nauseum about the rewards because those are changing in a good and big way
starting
very
in
soon.
June.
Supposedly.
It's a hot month.
It's a hot month.
It's a hot month.
We keep telling you. We're trying to warn you. We're just the weathermen of podcasts.
Yeah.
Changing our name.
We also have some really exciting news. I don't think we've announced it on the main feed yet. Mm-hmm. We have an official date for the first ever Streaming Things live show. It'll be coming at you October 5th at the Woodward Theater in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Ohio is a real place.
It is a real place. It's also for lovers. So if you guys are excited and you want to see myself, Kit Laser, Andy will probably be there. Madison will probably be there. Phil will probably be there. If you want to see, Alex is probably going to come. I hope. I would love to see him there. But if you want to see the whole Streaming Things gang, come hang out with us on October 5th. Tickets are not on sale yet, but just if you want to make travel plans, I wanted to make sure everyone had that date, October 5th. So you can start planning, and we'll let you know when tickets for the live show go on sale. That'll be relatively soon.
Tickets will go on sale to patrons first.
Yes.
And then they will be filtered out to the rest of our community. So if you don't have any plans that day, just think about saying, okay, and coming. Okay. You know, that's what you should say when asked, are you coming to the live show? But that's what's going on. Let's get into Rogue One. As you know, we're going to talk about our overall thoughts about this film, what it was like watching it the first time and what it's been like revisiting it, as well as a play-by-play, scene-by-scene recap. And then we're going to cap it all off with a medal ceremony, give it an award. What did Rogue One do best that none of the other films were able to do? And then rank the films. And again, we're going to throw Solo in there as well and just complete it. Our completely uncontroversial, run-of-the-mill Star Wars ranking. You know, that's what we're going to do. But first, it's time for everybody's favorite segment in streaming Star Wars, the Star Wars Mad Libs. Steve, lay it on us.
It's the final edition of Star Wars Mad Libs on Streaming Things. How bittersweet, guys.
It's bittersweet as blue milk.
Definition or emphasis on sweet. But this week, are you jabronis ready to give me words so I can put the pen to the paper to create our final Mad Libs Star Wars story?
Yes.
Okay, who's going first this time?
I'll kick it off.
Kit is going off. Kit, give me an adjective.
Thirsty.
Phil, give me a plural noun.
Underpants.
Noun.
Biscuit.
Phil, give me a noun.
Mitten.
Love a callback. Kit, can I have an adjective?
Limp.
Please? Lip.
Limp.
Limp. Phil, I need a noun.
Starfish.
Plural noun.
Muscles.
Phil, can I have an adjective?
Nautical.
Kit, can I have a plural noun?
Diapers.
Plural noun.
Dumps.
Noun.
Apple.
Lastly, I need a verb.
Worming.
All right, well, stay tuned to the end of the episode to figure out what story these two jabronis have written for our very last Star Wars Mad Libs.
So, Phil,
yeah,
I'm curious what it was like watching Rogue One, a Star Wars story for you in 2016. Pretty uneventful year here in America. And then what it was like revisiting it this time at an also uneventful time in 2024.
I got to say, when I went to go see this movie for the first time, I didn't really know what to expect. I'm sure I knew I would like it, but I didn't really know how much I would like it until after. And I got to say, after my first viewing of this, I was blown away by how much I liked it. And I kind of felt bad because I'm like, oh my God, do I like this more than every other Star Wars movie that I've seen?
You cheating on the OG?
I know.
Trilogy?
So like, I felt
cheating.
That's what it felt like. Like I felt like, man, like maybe it's just like recency bias. Like maybe I'm just like jazzed about this movie right now, and I'll like calm down a bit, and then like after the high of watching this movie fades, I will be able to objectively place this in my own ranking. And after seeing it time and time again since 2016, I honestly think, for me, this is my favorite Star Wars film. And it edges out Empire Strikes Back just a little bit for good reasons. But I just couldn't believe that like this movie that I had like pretty much no expectations of, besides the fact that it's a Star Wars movie, I'm sure I'll like it, ended up being my favorite of, up to that point, all 9 movies. I just couldn't believe how much I liked it. I watched it again last night. This is probably the only Star Wars film that's been released since The Force Awakens that I've seen like 10 plus times. It is so good. I love this movie. It is the only one I return to with frequency because it's so good. And I watched it again last night on May the 4th, and I loved it just the same as I did the last 10 plus times. It's a really good movie. I love it. And I cannot wait to talk about it. So, Steve?
Yay. Yeah, this is a great movie. I really, really enjoy this one. sort of leading it before this movie came out, they announced that Gareth Edwards was going to be the director. And this was a director that I really, at the time, he was really only known for making Godzilla and Monsters. And Monsters is a great movie. And I really, really enjoy that film. Godzilla, I like the idea of it, but I think there's a major flaw in that movie in that they change main characters really quickly, and it goes from an interesting character to a not interesting character. But I like him as a director going in. So when they announced that he was going to be this guy, I was like, oh, that's exciting. He's a young, fresh, new director that has talent. And there was all this talk about like, hey, we want this to be the first Star Wars war movie. Like we want it to be like an old World War II film, but set in Star Wars. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Like that's all I want to do. And I've always been of the mind where I love Jedi. I love all that stuff. But for me, for the longest time, I thought the most interesting things about Star Wars that had not been really mined yet was normal people in the Star Wars universe, like the rebel troopers, the stormtroopers, like the normal people who are just living in this galaxy, fighting for what they believed in against an evil empire. I thought that was like a very interesting story. We never actually had gotten it. And so this was kind of the first time.
That's what I'm talking about. I want the people that stand up to the one percenters sitting on the Death Star or Canto Bight, whoever they may be. The Industrial War Complex is terrible.
And then the cast starts coming out for this movie, and it's like, oh my gosh, the cast is incredible. Like Felicity Jones, Alan Tudyk's in here somehow, Donnie Yen, Ben Mendelsohn, Mads Mikkelsen, Forrest Whitaker, Riz Ahmed. You know, all these incredible people are popping up as the cast. And then so when the movie finally came out, super, super excited. Of course I loved it. Like so much of this movie is basically, you know, it reminded me of like being like a kid with my Star Wars toys, my ships. And I remember like, because when I played with toys, I don't know how you guys played with toys, but even when I was a kid, I always played with my toys as if my eyes were film cameras. And so I would like put myself in weird little positions. So like the framing of my eye created a shot in my head. And I specifically remember, do you remember World Devastators from the Dark Empire comic? I remember like having this very specific time where I had like a bunch of stormtroopers and rebel troopers, and I was reenacting what I thought a battle with the World Devastators on Mon Calamari were from Dark Empire. And so this movie is that. Like it's a lot of like World War II-esque, like just armies fighting each other, and it's so, so cool. And I really appreciate it. I do think that this movie has a fairly weak second act. Like if there are any problems with this movie, the second act, if they're all there, but then the third act is so goddamn good, you kind of like, okay, that's great. I don't really care about all the weaknesses of the second act. But overall, I think this is one of the best Star Wars movies ever made.
Yes.
Kit Laser, what are your thoughts on Rogue One?
I'm right there with you guys. I don't want to show my hand too early, but I do. This is my favorite Star Wars movie as well. All of the components are there for just a fucking badass movie. You know, Gareth Edwards has a VFX background. He was originally a VFX guy, and that's kind of how he approaches his direction, I think, with a lot of his projects from that lens. And this movie looks incredible. The director of photography is Greg Fraser, maybe my favorite working now. I know Roger Deakins is still working, but, you know, Lubeski, they're all up there. But I just love his specific kind of...
yeah, this is one of the best looking Star Wars movies.
By far. Yeah. I mean, this guy shot Dune 1 and 2. He did the Batman. I think the first time I became aware of him was Zero Dark 30, I think. Then you got Michael Giacchino doing the score. Yeah. You guys know I love me some Giacchino.
Giacchino apparently only did the score in like 4 weeks because the original composer had to drop out and couldn't do like the reshoot stuff. And so they got Giacchino, and he just had 4 weeks to hammer out a fucking score. And
yeah, this man always brings the pain. And he love it so much.
Giacchino's the one that has like the really cheeky song titles, right? Like,
he does, yes.
Because there's one let me hear Vamp. There's one song title in Rogue One that like makes me laugh every time. Let me try to see if I can pull it up.
Well, you were talking about the cast, and it's, I think you undersold it. You named everybody, but I mean, it's like Cream Your Pants Good. I mean, these are all just titans of cool. Donnie Yen is all you need to say.
Yeah.
You can throw in Alan Tudyk if you just want to really take it home.
Right.
But then you've got Forrest Whitaker, Riz Ahmed, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And what I love most about this movie is this is the most, I think, emotionally mature Star Wars movie.
Yes.
You've got, especially Cassian Andor, you've got these characters, your protagonist, murdering innocent people.
Yeah.
Which sounds bad on and it is, but I just mean that it tries to acknowledge the gray areas and the things that people did out of desperation to survive and keep the rebellion alive. It's not heroes versus, the foundation of Star Wars is a literal light versus dark setup, but this movie acknowledges what if it's not? And there's a lot of flaws in this movie I want to talk about for a second too, but did you find any Giacchino songs that tickle you?
I found them all. There's a chronic condition, Jyn Carcerated, that new Death Star smell, when ambush comes to shove, go do that Edo that you do so well. There's so many good ones.
Yeah, I love that guy's style, man. Giacchino for the win. And he has scored probably like 10 or 12 of the properties that we've covered on this show.
Bazed and confused. God damn, he's so fun.
I think there's a ton of things that you can say about this movie to knock, but they just ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, don't bother me. The method of downloading and sending a PDF from Scarif is ridiculously convoluted. The whole third act is based on how intricate it is to send a text from Scarif, and it's absurd. I don't care at all. It doesn't bother me one bit.
No.
There are some terrible and morally dubious renderings of deceased actors in this movie. Not a fan of that.
Well, at the time, it was just a deceased actor.
That's fair.
Yeah, because Princess Leia or Carrie Fisher died a week after this movie came out, or 10 days after this movie came out.
So she was just too busy, or did they de-age?
No, they digitally put her face on someone else, but they got her permission to do it.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, but then
That's
she
fair.
passed away when the movie right after the movie came out.
And the whole basis of this movie, also silly, is to fix a 40-year-old plot hole. Is kind of the inspiration. Like, why would they build the Death Star that way? It was a running joke for decades. And so anyway, I think there's a lot of things where you could kind of say, hey, this is silly. And also I can understand somebody who thinks, there's no stakes in this movie because we know what happened. Like any prequel has that issue. And in this movie in particular, it can't be good for our characters, like, because they're not in any of the other things. Right. So they obviously don't make it. Right. I never agree with that take on a prequel. And in this instance, I actually think the stakes are the highest that they've ever been in Star Wars. I love the grounded approach to the normal people who really had to keep this thing alive against all odds, right? Any rebellion is founded on hope. That whole idea might be corny to some people, but I think it gets to the crux, the spirit of this entire franchise in this movie. It's kind of a return to its roots. And on top of that, like philosophically amazing stuff, you get action hero Donnie Yen, just a Force fanboy crushing it. You get comedic genius Alan Tudyk giving our best droid in the franchise. And then Tony
beeps.
Yeah, Tony Gilroy helped write the screenplay. Well, and he ended up going over to Andor. I mean, that's how we have Andor.
I think Tony Gilroy also was in charge of all the reshoots. Like he's not credited as directing the reshoots, but Gareth Edwards didn't do the reshoots for this movie. Because if you watch the first, and a lot of people, it's one of those big film mysteries that people have, is just the movie that was released, how much of it is different than what Gareth Edwards originally directed. Because famously, the teaser for this movie is vastly different than what actually happens in the movie. Like there are shots in the movie or shots in the teaser that don't show up in the trailer, or shots in the teaser that are constructed vastly different than what's in the movie. And it's kind of, I don't know how much truth there is to like, oh, did they do kind of similarly what they do with Lord and Miller, where they just brought in another person to direct and change what the original director did to make a movie that they wanted to make. It's one of those things, right? Because I don't think Gareth's ever talked about it. No one's ever really come forward and said what's what. I know Tony Gilroy is quoted as saying that when he started doing the reshoots, the film was, quote, a mess. So it's just one of those things, like what was the original movie that Gareth shot compared to like what did Tony change?
Well, if you look at Godzilla and The Creator, it's not a far cry to imagine that it was a different kind of sillier movie. or more out there. And I do love.
I think it was more serious.
Exactly.
And
That's what I mean.
And
Silly in the
Lucasfilm wanted
sense
to
of,
change it to be more humor. Like I think they added more humor in the when Gilroy took over.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I think you need levity in this
Yes.
like really dark movie. I think
For
somewhat.
sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I like the Bourne series, stuff that Gilroy is known for. Also co-written by, or the story, Gary Whitta, our Book of Eli buddy.
Yeah.
Deep cut there. There's just so much talent that has historically been specifically for me involved in this movie. So it makes perfect sense that I would love it so much. I remember that early teaser that everybody made fun of because this was the first spinoff of the saga.
Yeah, this was the first of what was supposed to be a lot of Star Wars stories.
And you know
we only
that
had two.
Star Wars fans historically take this kind of stuff very well.
Yeah, famously.
So the online conversation about how good it would be was just really measured and logical.
So there was lots of backlash to the trailer release of this.
Specifically, I remember one line that I, to this day, actually like.
Is it the Rebel line?
Yeah, it was Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso, and it would cut to her at the end of the teaser, and she would say, in that meeting with all of the rebel leads where she ends up giving the speech, and they say, no, we can't do it. Right. She says, it's a rebellion. We rebel. And it was like cut, and everybody in the not okay. I like that line. I think it works. I wish they'd left it in, but Gilroy was probably like, nope.
The things that like fans pick apart, I'm just always like, what?
Yeah.
That's a thing, really?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm starting to realize in my 30s, it's part of the fun for them. They don't mean any harm.
I guess.
Right.
But
like, yeah, originally, I think in the first like versions of all the drafts was like Jyn was always in the rebellion. She was like a captain in the rebellion. So that's why when you watch that teaser trailer, the context of her in that sort of map room when they're all kind of interrogating her in the actual movie is actually them giving her like, this is your mission. You got to go find your father and all that stuff. It's much more of like they're telling her mission and she's like, all right, yes, sir, let's go.
Oh, I get it.
But then obviously at some point they changed the whole
to giving her an
narrative
arc
of her character of being this person who, doesn't know or like really know her father. She kind of gave up on the cause because Saw Gerrera's a wild man.
I love the character of Saw Gerrera so much too. The idea that there's levels to this and like he's an extremist, right?
Yeah.
he's too extreme for even them.
Oh yeah, he like freaks them out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I love that idea of there are all these different. Oh my God, Forrest Whitaker is making choices in this movie.
I love them.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think they do a disservice to the movie, but I fucking love it.
I'm going to vomit my blue milk on you right now.
There's going to be a lot of Forrest Whitaker, Saw Gerrera voices in this review recap.
This is a man who's been living in caves for a decade or more. He's losing his mind.
Lies.
Yeah. It works for me. I totally get it.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
You can't trust anybody for 15 years and now he's just.
There's only one line that he does in this movie where I was like, you could have taken a second stab at that. Go. It's really funny.
It's
perfect.
It's hammy.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of the character, how he's this, the wars never ended for him because he was in the Clone Wars, actually trained by Anakin Skywalker to be a guerrilla warfighter.
Hate that.
During the Clone Wars. And when
fucking Star Wars nerds, dude. Everything has to go back to Anakin.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Let the past die. But then like literally when the Clone Wars ended, he never stopped. Like he's like, oh no, it's the Imperials. They're the ones invading my country. Ah! And he's just become wilder and wilder and wilder for many, many years.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's at this point where he's more machine now than man. He's like he's because he can't breathe. He's like this also sort of Lord Vader. War has consumed this guy. Yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's just the voice with the hair is just very funny to me.
I think it's perfect. I love the idea that all of these Anakins in history, by the way, are different people because it's a common name.
Right.
That's what I'm the Skywalker, like Skywalker is Smith in this galaxy. Yeah. That's what I'm now pretending. I was trained by Anakin. No, not that one.
Not that one.
He retired. He's a really nice guy.
The Bohatton Anakins.
Yeah, fucking great movie. Let's get into it. We all love it and do our best to do it the service that it does, And by the way, a lot of people love this movie when it came out, but I've seen online some rumblings of some like Rogue One revisionism. It's toward the bottom of many rankings that I saw yesterday because everybody posts their rankings on May the 4th.
This is why
It's either
I
one-
don't identify with the Phantom at all. 'cause
It's
I
almost
just
always
don't
one, but sometimes it's
understand
like
it.
7, and that's wild.
That's so weird.
It's weird.
Other people,
It's so strange.
what's number one for the people who put this at 7? I'm just curious.
It's almost always Empire.
okay.
It's almost always Empire.
Interesting. I think it's wild that if Empire's your number one, like why this wouldn't be at least
2
higher, not necessarily 2,
I
but
saw
like not
like
7.
one logical like 4th spot, you know.
Yeah, I can understand a 4.
But yeah, it's just I do think it's quintessential Star Wars, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm like I like it a little grittier, a little edgy. Like that's me, and that's annoying. Maybe
That's true.
That's
There
maybe
is-
why
there-
I love Rogue One so much.
There is a subsect of Star Wars fans that Star Wars to them is Jedi Knights, Sith, and if you remove those, that's like, well, I don't care. Like, why would I care about this story?
Right.
I want the space magicians, you know. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
there's like text Star Wars and there's like mystical Star Wars, and like the mystical Star Wars is like very underrepresented in this movie compared to every other Star Wars movie. And I can see if you're more into
If you're in
the
fantasy-
mysticism,
yeah.
then this could potentially be a lower ranking film. But even still, like watching it as a movie, like as just watching it as this is just a movie that's set within a universe I already like. Why wouldn't you see it as like, yeah, this is a good example of what a war movie within this world could be? And that's why I just don't
to
understand
be
like
fair-
how it could like rank so low on that list.
To be fair, I think 7 in my ranking is probably like Solo or something in my personal ranking, but I still like that movie.
Yeah.
So, for the most part.
And I would classify myself as more of a mysticism fan than science in stories. Let's be clear about that. But I really don't think that as a wizard nerd, I don't think the magical world building in Star Wars is to be lauded at all. I don't think the skill set and potential and power levels of the Force are defined even in Lucas's own mind, much less the franchise. So to have magic, you got to know what it can do, and it's got to have rules that make sense,
Right.
Even though it's magic, you know.
Sure,
In any good fantasy story, and that's how you get you can't do that. He's out of crystals or whatever, you know.
Right.
That kind of fun stuff. Whereas with the Force, I just watched all 11 of these movies in 11 weeks. I couldn't tell you what the Force could do or can't do. And because I don't think anybody knows. I think at certain times throughout watching these movies, and maybe I'm wrong, certain things have just kind of happened. Like, oh, it can do this now. Like when you watch the original trilogy, and then this is a huge tangent. We're terrible at this, but it's just something that it kind of bothers me. In the original movies, it was like this amorphous. Well, he just stole it from Frank Herbert. It was just the Bene Gesserit stuff, right? Like you can do Jedi mind tricks, you can levitate stuff. That's what it can do. And then in the prequels, he was like, they could use that to be acrobatic masters, you know, which was super fun. Like they can jump really high. They can, in one instance, they could go
Run real fast. In just one shot, they could run real fast.
And that would be a crucial skill to use ever
End
again.
of that same movie
At any point.
to best the villain,
But
did not use it.
whatever. And I understand that it's like this, there's this religiosity to it. And so in the canon, you have things like Darth Maul, like pulling, you know, clotting his blood and surviving a 1,000-foot fall and stuff with, I assume, the Force or
His hatred.
dark magic powers. That's fine to me. But then
I'm going to open a clinic where I describe hatred to everyone for all ailments.
it's the sequels. To be fair, that have no involvement from Lucas, where it gets really amorphous. I think you've got people like Leia pulling herself to the ship through space with the Force. You've got Luke doing a live Zoom call from other planets with the Force. You've got Force.
That's just Force ghosting, but
You've got Force sensitive people.
Yeah, but like, hasn't every fantasy thing like made up new things as they go along, and they just essentially, to serve the plot, They like create these new ways of furthering that through examples of
but I would argue that it's under the pretext of now, because again, it's in quotes because obviously they're not actually following them, but it's under the pretext of there are rules to this, you know, or you set it up a little differently. Like in Game of Thrones, I think there's all kinds of different kinds of magic. Like we have the Miri Mazdur, the Blood Witch, does a form of like resurrection that we don't really see. You have the dragons obviously are magical in and of themselves, and then there's Pyat Pri and anyway, there's different kinds of magic there, but like they each do kind of different things, and it seems like there are rules to it. Like it isn't just random. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Specifically Chirrut. I love the character of Chirrut, but
I don't think you're wrong about the criticism of like how the Force has been like twisted and formed to essentially inform how the plot proceeds. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to sort of create new ways of using it throughout the progression of the movies, because it is such an amorphous, misunderstood thing to a lot of people, with the exception of the Jedi, the Sith, and those gray Jedis in between.
I guess in the original movies, it posited that what if the Force is a unifying thing that exists in nature that would take a monk-like lifetime of practice and training to be able to utilize and tap into. And by Rogue One, it's not that at all necessarily. You know, like Chirrut is not a Jedi. He's just like a fan. Right. Nobody's trained him to do anything other than fight, which is very well done, right? He just believes. Because he believes and trusts.
He uses the Force though.
Yeah. That's my point.
But he's in this guild though that would, in theory he would be trained in some way. He's not just a Jedi. He's not Jedi trained.
Right.
He's in the Guardians of the Wills. Like in theory, that would be someone who would be trained on some level to be able to do that. And also he's differently abled. So, and I know this is kind of like a trope in movies, but obviously that's like just an extension of the senses he can use as well.
Well, Donnie Yen specifically plays that character multiple times throughout his career. But I obviously you guys are pushing back on this, but I just find him walking across the field with the luck of it's a beautiful scene. I'm just saying, like, again, that's something maybe some of the other Jedi could have done at some point. Like, they didn't have Force luck powers. Like,
I blame that more on like just like stormtroopers being bad at what they do. So
it wasn't even the Force. They just all missed him.
Yeah,
they nailed the guy that's like, I'm going to go for it. And then he like peeks out and like instantly takes one to the
that was an
chest.
Accident.
And then
they were aiming
that's
for,
the thing. Yeah.
They were aiming for Melshi.
Yeah, they were aiming for somebody else.
And then Chirrut's like just like casually walking through the battlefield at the end.
Another thing that's funny about this movie.
The one thing I got to say is, even though this is like the most grounded in the real world that Star Wars has gotten, it's still a silly Star Wars film. There are still things that you have to suspend disbelief to enjoy it. And I think that's a prime example of one of those things.
They also, in this movie, two things. They also mention that space will kill you for the first time, I think. In a bit,
but not K2SO.
In a bit with K2.
Yeah.
And I was like, it actually won't in this universe, though. You know what I mean? I thought that was funny.
Well, it would kill a normal person.
Yeah.
It doesn't, though.
When does it not kill a normal person?
In Last Jedi, they're literally in space.
They're not in space.
Dude.
Are you talking about when they're on the Star Destroyers?
What about, Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia
she's
flies
not a normal person.
Yeah,
she has force powers. She cannot breathe. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying a normal person can't do that.
Well, there's no airlocks in any of Star Wars. It is just doors open in space.
Shields.
People come in.
The laser shields. Yeah.
I know you're saying, like, to me, I'm like, this is well established lore. They have shields that allow you to breathe in there. Like,
but
they have shields.
But to your defense, though, they've never explained that, like in the movies, that's just us being nerds and like researching that on our own.
What about when they put all the shields on the back because they're getting shot? Does that mean they couldn't open a door on the left
you're just
side?
putting all the power. So you still have a shield, but it's like 1%
shield.
Yeah, you have 1% thickness over here and 100% thickness back here.
If the shield is an egg around the ship,
so hold on,
and you cut the egg in half and then put the front part of that egg on the back, it doubles the shield.
No, I get that. So in Last Jedi, when Rose's sister is dropping the bombs on that Star Destroyer, I think it's a Star Destroyer. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And the door just opens. That's a shield.
Yeah, there's a shield under there. Yeah.
But so things can leave but not come in.
Yeah, it's like a two-way mirror.
Yeah, you remember in Phantom Menace when the battle droids walked through the Gungan shield?
Yes.
Yeah. So like the shield can keep some things. It's kind of like the shield
The
of
Dune shield, if it's not going too fast.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same exact rules, but it's like that same idea where like only certain things can get in or out.
Yeah. So atmosphere is held in, but things can exit.
Right.
I mean, in this movie, we see an X-Wing eat shit on a shield.
That's fair.
So
Eat shit on a shield.
It's like shit on a shingle.
right.
And then also, what about Baze's gun?
Yeah.
Would no one else think having that kind of blaster was useful?
Okay, so that is a thing that's always been in my car. Because even in Clone Wars, you've got like all the clone troopers who are like, oh, for the Republic, and then that one dude shows up with a Gatling gun.
Yeah,
I'm like, make more of those.
We need more of those types of blasters.
More of those, please. Like, I don't care if I have to look like a retro cool
I'll wear the
Ghostbuster
backpack.
in Star Wars.
I'll
like,
wear the backpack.
Fucking Baz looks like the coolest Ghostbusters ever. He's like, light them up, boys. Pshoo, this is how we do it downtown.
Give me that one for sure. Yeah. If we're ever in a Star Wars battle situation, dibs on that guy.
Do you think the other rebels are looking at him with like blaster envy?
Oh, for sure.
Or they're like, shit, ours do the same thing, and we don't have to like have a tank on our back. So maybe they're also like, I'm glad I'm not that guy.
We don't know how heavy that thing is.
It's true.
That's true.
My cannon, it's really light.
Yeah.
I just assume he's strong.
It's like a camelback.
Actually, that thing actually has nothing to do with his gun. That's just where he
It's got all his toys.
that's all his stuff. Yeah.
He's like Saul. He just likes toys.
Who wants some orange slices and Gatorade? Like pulls it out. Good job, team.
Donnie Yen's like, All right. Sorry about that. Again, this is my favorite movie. I do think for me, if somebody did, a Force user could do literally anything. And I don't think I would be able to say, can't do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And then that's the difference. Sure. Like in Game of Thrones, somebody could do something, I don't know what, at this moment. And I would say, you can't do that. You know what I mean? I could say that. Lord of the Rings is the same way. I don't have any idea what magic does. Because, you know what I mean? Gandalf's just kind of like, I'm high as fuck.
Yeah.
Look for my second coming on the third day.
Yeah, he doesn't like throw fireballs or anything. It's just like I'm in general do stuff, and I don't think that's as fun.
And he stops people from passing.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
If in fact he says you shall not, then you won't.
Yeah. You straight up won't.
That's right. Any hoozle. It starts out. By the way, did you watch this with Erica?
I did watch this with Erica.
I had the same question.
Did
as
this
what you're
scare
gonna
the
ask.
fuck out of her?
I have this in my notes.
It did. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
And my first note is I know that scared the shit out of
Yep.
Erica.
Yeah.
I had the same note. Yep.
Because for the listeners that don't know, she gets scared every time that John Williams picks up. But this time there is no crawl, and I guess Gareth was just like, let's still do it. But immediately
scare people.
because it kind of scared me because I had the surround sound, not to brag. It was loud. But yeah, Mama and Mads Mikkelsen and Jyn, young Jyn, they gather their things.
Mama, Mads Mikkelsen, and Jyn.
They're packing up their shit, and they feel like, hey, we better call Saul.
Better call Saul. I see what you did there.
And they tell her to trust the Force, gives her I think that's a Kyber crystal necklace.
Yes.
And then I get that Mama's upset. I don't know why Mama leaves child, especially now that we know the kind of guy Saul is. Mama probably stay with daughter is probably the better plan.
I love how you're devolving into caveman speak.
So the mother
Mama stay with daughter.
Mama no go with daughter.
like
daughter make good safe.
Kid no understand.
Like I'm just saying, so Galen's plan is that Lyra takes Jyn and goes through the escape route and waits for Saul to pick them up, right? Lyra says, fuck that. I hate Krennic so goddamn much. And I'm panicking.
That's why.
Yeah, there's a flashback later on when they're like having drinks in their apartment in Coruscant or something, and I just get this idea like, oh, she just fucking hates Krennic so much. She's like, oh, I've been waiting to shoot this. This asshole cheats in Werewolf. I hate him so much.
Cheats in Werewolf.
So Krennic shows up. He's been looking for Galen for a long time.
There's one bit that I always laugh when Galen kind of kneels down, he hugs Jyn, he's like, Jyn, everything I do to protect you. Tell me you understand. Like, I understand. Good. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, as a parent, like, you don't really. I don't think you're supposed to say, "Tell me you get it." Okay,
or are you dumb? No, I think he's like, it's so important to him that she not grow up and think he's evil,
Right.
Which she does. So she didn't, in fact, understand Steve. I would posit that.
She straight up lied.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I'm not gonna lie. He scared me. That's another thing kids do, though. Yeah, sure.
Totally.
Just get out of my face, please.
I love you, Stardust. I love you so much. I'm going to name a genocidal machine after you.
That's right.
Aw.
That will make you Stardust.
He named her after the Neil Gaiman book.
Yeah.
It was unrelated. And now that look what happened. But
He
Galen
loves Robert De Niro's performance in that movie so much.
So do I.
It's great.
Galen says that he's not going to do it. And Krennic's like, you definitely are. And he's like, oh, but I've been lonely because Lyra died. And there's this great moment where Ben Mendelsohn's like, oh, geez. Starts the house.
Pretends to care for like a second.
They have a great line here where Krennic says, "We were this close to providing peace and security to the galaxy," and Galen responds, "You're confusing peace with terror."
Yeah.
And Krennic's response of like, "Well,
Whatever it takes to get there.
You got to start somewhere."
He's one of those omelet. He's one of those omelet guys.
Like right off the bat, like you just get what he's about.
I love middle management Imperial officer villains.
Yes.
They're the best.
Especially this breed too. Like he has the potential to be a big bad, but he's stuck where he is.
Can't get that promo.
The organization.
And he's been at the same wage for 2 years. He's angry.
He's angry. But hey, at least he's got that drip.
Yeah.
Boy,
does.
boy looking great in a cape. Just saying.
And he's got like one of the Vader ships, doesn't he?
With the
Lambda
wings.
class.
Yeah. It's like a proto Lambda class shuttle. Yeah. It looks dope.
Lambda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the lettering.
Okay. Yes. But then Lyra shows up.
Oh, look, Lyra back from the dead.
Back from the dead.
It's
Like
a miracle.
the way he says this line too, like, oh look, back from the dead.
'Cause he never
like
believed she was dead, right?
Yeah.
But still, I just feel like she ruins the whole thing. Because here, stay with me now. If she had followed the plan, Jen would have had a much better life with her mother, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Probably.
And then maybe they even get Galen back, you know?
Maybe.
I'm not going to put all of this on. Obviously, this is Krennic's fault, not Lyra's.
Sounds like you're blaming your victim.
Yeah, this is some real victim blaming you're doing here.
You know, I have the bird's eye view of the situation, but it's like,
You're like a step away from going on Jordan Peterson's show and telling everybody why it's all women's fault the Empire existed.
No. I'm just not.
But like, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like she's not in her right mind right now. She's like, I like my husband's about to get taken. My child has to hide. Like, I don't know what to do in this moment. So she makes a choice. And the choice is go confront him with a blaster. And it doesn't work out well for her. But
Well, I would just throw this at you guys from my own experience. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter at all. But in this situation, say Steve comes to my house. He's been looking for me to start the podcast back up. And
We're this close to greatness.
It's an evil podcast, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I have a backup plan for if Steve finds me because he's probably going to kill me. Anyway.
As Steve does.
I love that you think I'm this capable.
Carissa, go out the back door, take our daughter, and wait till Jimmy comes to pick you up, right? There is no
child.
universe in which Carissa.
It's so funny.
There's no universe in which Carissa sends Arya out there alone and comes out to fight Steve. She's gone.
She don't want this smoke.
If her, you know what I mean? Her number one priority in this world is Arya.
Right.
So I wouldn't even finish my sentence and I would see her spaceship flying away. You know what I
The
mean?
question is,
You're supposed to come.
but does she hate Steve as much as she hates
Everything else is the same.
Well, she knows I cheat at werewolf, so.
Okay.
That's true. Anyway, they end up shooting Lyra. It's incredibly sad, but she does like Nick Krennic. By the way,
They have a child.
Also,
Find it.
what are you going to run out there and do? You're a terrible shot. You know,
Yeah, but like she's faced with stormtroopers, so
Like
she's like,
7
my
feet
odds
away.
of not getting hit is very high right now.
very high.
I do like how she just tries to hide the blaster with like a pillow, and then she's like, "I have a blaster under here." Like shock.
I knew it. But yeah, it's a great scene. It's very tense.
Yeah.
I love it.
What a great opener.
But then Saul ends up coming to pick up Jyn.
My child.
My child.
Come.
I like the idea that he never met her before, and it's like a different one. He just grabs
He grabs a different kid.
I assume there's a lot of kids on this planet, and he's like, "Hey,
just like kids in holes, just like
Not sure which one. What's your name?
Greedo.
Okay, come on.
Greedo, I shall call you McClunky." But we cut to adult Jyn. She's in prison.
Real quick, I am not a fan of the title logo font. It looks very...
And you're calling me a picky dumb
I
bastard?
know. I'm just saying the title logo font is very like, ooh, that was a first pass and did not get updated.
Really?
Yeah.
It's literally never occurred to me.
Oh man, it's the solid coloring with like the it's all stroke no fill. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't like it.
There is a Phil.
Well, this fill. Hey.
I'm Stroke and Phil.
They should have went papyrus.
Yeah.
I know what you did.
God, that would be so funny.
Papyrus works every time. That's why they did it. But it cuts to adult Jyn. She's in prison, and we cut to Cassian Ander. And he's meeting. I love this scene.
Ander.
He's meeting with his informant, and this is how he learns about the Death Star,
The pilot.
and the defecting pilot, all that stuff. He ends up shooting 2 troopers that asked for ID. I'm guessing he didn't have ID.
There's a real funny bit where they're like, "Give me your ID." He's like, "Yes, of course, but my gloves." And he's not wearing gloves.
I was like, what was that about?
I think it's just him
Just making a lie up and realizing
came
it's
up
not.
with.
But it's like, I need my gloves to get my ID. Hold
Yeah.
on, let me get my ID and gloves.
It's very dirty, my ID. I keep it in my keister, so I need my lube and gloves.
You guys might want to turn around for this.
You know how it is on a ship. There's not room to put anything.
Right.
So then he kills the informant who...
He's got like a broken arm or something.
Yeah, he's like, I can't climb out of here. But he doesn't want the informant to get caught alive because he's going to snitch.
Yeah, that dude's a definite snitch if there ever was one.
Oh, yeah.
And I think right away, because Lyra dying is very sad, but like we've seen Baru and Owen, and people have bid it before.
Sure.
But when you see our protagonist kill this innocent guy, well, we don't know what the informant has done in his life either.
Yeah.
But no one's innocent.
Well, I mean, they all say like later on in the film, like we've all done really bad shit, but like it's for the cause.
Exactly.
So this is a good example of how he, at his core, is a good guy, but he has to make really hard, awful choices to further that goal.
Maybe it's the world that we're living in right now, but I was just really struck watching this movie that it's ballsy, I think, to show that rebels like this are indistinguishable from terrorists and stuff, right? Like they're blowing up places. They're running around killing people. Like and we know that they're good because we know Palpatine's at the top of this. Right. But like your average farmer
doesn't know.
Has never seen Palpatine. All he does is he sees people blowing shit up and running away. You know what I mean?
They don't look up.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. I just think that that's fascinating and ballsy. That's all. Yeah. And it was at this moment that I was like, oh shit, watching it the first time. But then we cut to
that's like they kind of expand on that idea in Andor, which is really great because there's a lot of
more
characters that are like, I don't want anything to do with the rebels, y'all are terrorists, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also the idea that
Imperial propaganda.
The Rebel Alliance is so new.
Yeah.
This is the first time they've gotten hundreds of rebel groups together into one organized task force. Some of those rebel groups are, more extreme, like
Saw
Gerrera's partisans and all that. Yeah. And
is that what their name is? I
think it's the Partisans. I might be. There is a group called the Partisans. I think it's his, but it might not be. Let me double.
It's like Dooku's Club, where he had like the
Dooku's Club.
That's what it's called.
The machinists and stuff or whatever.
Yeah, the Techno Union.
Yeah, the Techno Union.
Yeah. Slash Dooku's Club.
I don't know why we invite you to these things.
Oh yeah, the Partisans are Saw Gerrera's group. Yep.
Borgullet loves it when you do that.
Borgullet reaches into your mind and knows that you love Sandstorm.
And we cut to
Borgullet reveal the beats.
No, reveal the drop.
Sorry.
He likes to know when it's coming.
I don't like to be surprised.
We cut to Jeddah. Uh-oh. That's where we get is that where the Jedi were born? Right?
I don't.
Yep. Is it photon or proton?
Oh, God, don't bring that up again. I'm so ashamed.
Is this the first time we've seen Jeddah?
Yes.
Heard of Jeddah in a movie? Probably. I'm sure it's been in your nerd comics.
It's
I think it was
Arizona
actually
Tatooine.
Yeah, Arizona Tatooine, where the mountains look like men.
Yeah.
No, I think this is a planet that was introduced for this movie that might have appeared in a comic just before it came out. I don't remember Jeddah.
Oh, really? It's not like
I don't remember it in the stuff that I used to read.
Didn't they
it's not
mention
like a
it
thing.
in one of the sequel trilogy movies?
Well, probably because they knew they were making this movie.
Right.
Yeah,
but
It's a new thing.
It's been name dropped before.
Yeah. At least in another movie it was name dropped. I can't remember which one.
Colloquially, it's actually called Jedha.
Jedha.
That's true. But we meet Riz Ahmed. He is the defected pilot that we spoke about earlier. That was talked about with the informant and Cassian. He's coming to meet with Saul, and they don't trust him, so they bag him up. We cut back to Jyn.
Are these your guys?
Tognath reveal, my favorite alien in new Star Wars.
What is his species name?
Tognath.
Oh, that is
Yes.
not his name. That is the species
Yeah,
name.
right.
The
And
Tognaths
there are two
look
of
like
them
that.
in this movie.
The twins.
And I was curious.
Oh, really?
About, yeah.
I thought they were the same guy.
That's racist.
You do see the one guy primarily, but there is a shot where they're both in the shot, like one's in, like soft
And
focus
twins?
behind. Yeah. But it's cool because the lore is that they have naturally dulled pain receptors, so they've augmented their like sight and hearing and all that, like with all these cybernetic enhancements, because they're like it doesn't hurt. So let's just like make ourselves more like more machine than
More machine
our
than
natural.
man.
Yeah, interesting. More than
It's cool.
organic.
Yeah.
They don't. Well,
There's not a lot on them, but just thought that was cool.
One of their names is Edrio.
Yeah.
I like the Tognath. He's cool.
Yeah.
He's tough.
Really good design. Sorry.
I think the main one is called Benthic.
I've been thick for a long time.
Yeah, you have. What?
Jen's being transported from her incarceration, and then they get waylaid. This transport, somebody's busting her out. But they're looking for
Liana Halleck.
that's her fake name.
Yeah.
And she ends up being caught by an Imperial droid named K2SO.
Congratulations, you're being rescued.
It's Alan Tudyk's
Please
voice.
do not resist.
And it is everything to me.
Oh, man.
Then we cut to
What
Yavin.
a cool looking droid, too.
God,
Right?
so
Just a
good.
neat design.
Tiny head.
Tiny head, really thin arms, but like big and bulky chest.
Yeah.
He been thick too.
Yeah.
Barrel chested.
We cut to Yavin. This is the Resistance headquarters, which Yavin was where the Resistance headquarters were
In
in
New
Last
Hope.
Jedi, right?
No.
A New Hope.
New Hope.
A New Hope, yeah.
that's right,
This
New
is
Hope.
the A New Hope base. No, all the forest planets in the sequel trilogy are all completely different planets, movie to movie.
Just forest.
Yeah, there's like Aegon Kloss is one of them. I forget what the other one.
Doesn't matter.
Dakar, I think, is another one.
I just remembered Yavin had been brought up, but that's because, this is the prequel to the original trilogy.
Yeah. So in a new Hope, this is the same base.
Same base.
Yeah.
All your base are belong to us, said Palpatine. They know that she's Jyn Erso, daughter of Galen Erso. They want her to go with them to Saw Gerrera because you were raised by Saul. Otherwise, he'll just kill anybody who walks in there. We
Have
see
you come to kill me?
he does that.
That's how he answers the door.
Yeah.
Like
You ordered a pizza, sir.
Lies! Deceit!
No, you got DoorDash. I'm dropping it off.
Poor Gullet will know. Take him to the Poor Gullet.
Every DoorDash driver goes to see the Borgullet. He's got all those red DoorDash bags in a corner and a bunch of people in his cell going crazy.
I see through the lies of the DoorDash.
I will tip 25%. Borgullet. Yes.
Wait, does the Borg Gullet like give him like
Hand
a
jobs?
report? Or that too. Like, okay, so here's what I found. Like,
Borgullet.
Borgullet is my
how
only
does the
friend.
Borg Gullet like
don't
relay
forget.
the information it finds to him?
He gives me a tentacle in my face.
Maybe that's how he does it. And that's why he's a little kooky. Because he says, one tends to go mad.
So he puts like
I cuddle my
tentacles on the
Borgullet.
guy,
Yeah, I
and then
think
he
so.
like puts one on him.
I think it does mess him up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, it's like when you were kids, you would put like attach two solo cups with a string.
Yeah.
But in this instance,
Dixie cups, but yes.
Yeah,
Nobody does that with solo cups.
that's true.
Just want to say
Unless you're
that
an alcoholic.
I couldn't think of disposable cups except solo cups because I'm a trash person
Yeah,
now.
you are. You're terrible. Red Solo Cup. So where was I at here?
Saul is an extremist. They're really they want to get
Yeah.
their foot in the door because I guess they don't really talk to him that well because of his extremism.
They know about the planet killing weapon and that they want to get to the bottom of that, right? So we cut to K2SO.
we get a couple drops of characters here. We see Mon Mothma, of course,
who
is
fought
there.
Godzilla.
Amazing that they found an actor that
that's
can
Mothra.
do Mon Mothma as well as she can.
Genevieve O'Reilly's great. She continues to be Mon Mothma and Andor, and she's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
And then also Bail Organa is there as well. We get a nice.
I know it's comical. I think when he walks out, it's like he walks out like it's fucking Robert Downey Jr. back as Iron Man. But it's like not many people care.
No.
I mean, it's nice. You know what I mean?
The biggest of Star Wars nerds are like, yeah, but everyone else is like,
Who?
Jimmy Smith?
Exactly. Wasn't he on SVU or
Is that
something?
the villain from season 3 of Dexter?
Also, I noticed that I think it's the general. It's the guy that tells Cassian like actually kill her
Draven or
father. Isn't that like the dad from Sex Education? I think.
I kept calling him Wish Kelsey Grammer.
Kinda. I see that. Yeah, he's like the dad from Sex Education or the principal or something. Great show. I can tell you guys haven't watched it, but Gillian Anderson, anybody? X-Files, you know what I'm saying?
I know X-Files.
I know Gillian Anderson.
I don't know this sex education film or show or whatever.
It's a good one.
Well, sex is this thing, Phil, when...
Ooh, the new Doctor Who? That's where he got famous.
Doctor Who.
Oh, I keep looking at you like I just assume all nerds
Don't like time
of a
travel.
feather.
Not a time travel.
That's
guy.
where you draw the line is time travel?
Yeah.
Don't they time travel in Star Trek?
I don't like it.
I've struck a nerve.
With the exception of First Contact. I like First Contact, but
Are you impressed that I knew they time travel in Star Trek?
I mean, it was a pretty obvious thing that they do. But I'm very impressed, kid. We're all impressed. That
I've seen all the movies. That's all I'm saying.
I won't let Phil's hatred toward time travel not get you your kudos.
Okay. Now we know you're not a Back to the Future fan. Got it.
Oh shit! No, I do like Back to.
Nope. No, you don't.
No,
I like Back to the Future.
You said it.
On record.
But
Like Back to the Future.
She agrees to do it. They say they'll let her go if they get her into as an introduction, a warm handoff to Saul. We get this great scene where they're packing up the ship, and K2SO is so fucking sassy. It's one of my favorite
so
scenes in the
petty.
movies. Do you know what my main specialty is? Strategic analysis. So what do I know? You know, like it's this whole
I
wonderful
think this
thing.
is a bad idea. And so does Cassian. And I love how Cassian's like, sorry, he says whatever comes into his circus. It's a byproduct of the reprogramming.
I love how he says that, but like every droid is sassy like that. You know, like think about God. I'm so sorry because she passed away and it was very sad. But Lando's droid,
L3.
yeah, L3 was very sassy.
She was extra sassy though. Like he's like sassy, but on a more like
obedient level.
Yeah.
yeah, like she's straight up not going to listen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he'll do what you say, but he won't let you hear the end of it.
But we have seen droids.
She straight up won't do it, and then we'll ask for sexual favors.
We have seen droids though, like TC-14 and
Ichuta.
the one that Chris wanted to bang.
Yeah,
in
the silver one.
Absent one.
Yeah.
It's revisionist.
So.
No, you
I
wanted
merely
it.
remarked
You
upon
wanted it.
the fact that her voice was lovely. That is all. You
But
say right.
there are droids that like don't have that
That's
sass to them. Yeah.
R2. We don't know if he's sassy or not. We assume he
he's
is.
sassy. He's sassy.
The beeps and boops.
He's sociopath.
Sassy little man.
Cassian gets his secret mission to kill Galen while she's packing up there, and then K2's pissed that she has a gun, a blaster.
Yeah.
And he's never been able to hold one of those. Do you know the odds that she's going to use that on you?
High.
It's very high.
It's very
I
high.
remember I was sitting in the theater on the premiere night when he said that joke. It fucking crushed. I mean, the theater was losing it.
I mean, it makes me laugh.
I was losing. It's still so funny. It's Alan Tudyk, like the inflection of his voice. It's so perfect.
He's so good. I love him.
I also love that there's a Firefly reference here because he's flying the ship.
Serenity?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Alan Tudyk played Wash, the pilot of Serenity.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you mean like their ship was called Serenity or something.
No. It's just he's the pilot. in
Just
both.
the fact that Alan was flying. I got you.
It's fun.
And we cut to Saw
leaf on the
Gerrera
wind.
and Bodhi Rook is the pilot, the whole Borgullet sequence, which is funny.
Every day, more lies.
More lies. I think it's great. I think he's doing a Shakespearean level, awesome performance here.
I fucking love him.
I think like
I'm saying it's a choice. I do, and I stand by that the Saw Gerrera subplot is the weakest part of the movie. But he's hilarious to me, and I'll never I always want more Saw Gerrera. When I found out he popped back up in Andor, I was like, what episode? I need to have that watched immediately.
I think if you know like what he's doing before he's on screen, like it like helps to like really make you love it. There is just that one line read that I was like, I don't know about that one, but I agree. He's
I love how his toadies are telling him like, oh, we captured Bodhi. We took this thing. He was trying to hide this thing from us. And
Do you know that I can hear you?
Yeah,
I can hear you. I'm right here. I gave those to you.
Yeah, Riz Ahmed's doing great work here.
Yeah.
He's so fucking good at like
rolls.
the fear, the panic, but also like the fact that he just feels compelled to do this, like to the first right thing he's done in so long, and he's so excited to do that. You know. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. We cut to Krennic. He's on the destroyer outside of the Death Star. We get the Tarkin. I get where they were going. You know, like you said, the middle management villains are the best, and the greatest of all time is Tarkin. Unfortunately, he's dead. What can we do? Gareth Edwards. Hey, I'm a VFX guy. We can do this. Should we do it? Who cares?
Did they get like permission from his estate?
I think so.
I feel like they would have to. Yeah,
I think so. I just think that, you know, and again, I know we all agree on this. I don't think it's a thing we should even talk about. Like, there's so many ways to do it differently. I also think that the de-aged digital Leia at the end is pretty bad.
Yeah,
and it would have been what's more iconic than Leia's hair rolls on either side of her head. Like, it'd be so easy to just show the back of her head and have the movie end right there. Oh shit. You know, like, I just don't know why they went there.
There's an actor who, Wayne Pygram, he played Tarkin in episode 3, but those scenes were cut from the movie. You see him briefly at the end of episode 3.
Oh, they had somebody play like a
he's
young
in
Tarkin.
He's like in prosthetic makeup to have those cheekbones.
Yeah, and I wondered why they didn't go that route. Why they didn't?
They could just get like Bill Nighy or something.
Well,
like,
I mean, even the guy who plays Tarkin in this movie, Guy Henry, I think if you just add a little bit of prosthetic to his face, he would look. I mean, he wouldn't look exactly
people
like
accept,
Tarkin, but
like at a fundamental level that these are actors and you can switch
It's a
them.
movie. Like, we get it. Like, the guy's dead. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think that like I agree. Like if this was me making this movie, I would have just gotten Guy Henry, like, because he does a good job with the voice. Like he does sound like Tarkin.
I'm sticking with Bill Nighy. I would cream for that.
I would just want Bill Nighy to be his own character.
I ran it under a cold tap.
Krennic, you may fire when ready.
That's how cool is that?
I know. I would want him to be his own thing, though. That's how much I like him. But I do think that, you know, this was in 2016. This was kind of before deepfake was around. This was sort of like the first stab.
Yeah, they're like, oh, look how good we did. Yeah.
Yeah. And
they were excited.
You think this was more of like a flex? Like, let's do it because we can?
I think it was more so like this movie leads directly into A New Hope. So this was probably them thinking like, oh, it has to look exactly like how it does in this movie that takes place minutes later. So I think that's why they kind of felt like they needed to do this with Tarkin. I know I think that someone mentioned it in one of the interview, maybe Gareth Edwards mentioned this, but in like an original draft, they like wrote Tarkin out of it because obviously Peter Cushing's been dead since 1994. But then as they like were making the movie, they're like, well, it doesn't feel right to have a movie at the Death Star and Tarkin's not there because he's like the Death Star guy.
Right.
I think for the time, this is a really good effect, what they're doing. Like, I think it's passable. I think if you're someone who did not know that Peter Cushing was dead, maybe you may not immediately think, oh, that's a CGI face on a person.
I'll be honest.
Is it perfect? I don't think it is.
I didn't even notice the first time I saw this movie in theaters.
Really?
I don't know anything about
Oh, you're okay. So before you came over, I was talking to Steve about this. Like, do you think anybody watched this movie and didn't know?
Yeah, that happened with me.
Wow. And so it fooled you.
It got me.
Wow.
Leia did not.
Yeah,
Leia, I think the Leia is the problem with Leia, at least for me, and you can tell me if you agree, but I think the problem with Leia is they don't animate her mouth.
It's when she speaks, it's different.
Her mouth is poorly animated, so it looks
the audio is off too.
Yeah.
And you don't need it. And that's another thing. But it's just morally that I have an objection to the Tarkin stuff. But I'm never like, Uncanny Valley. You know, I think it's pretty well done.
Sure.
It's funny. I was watching it was a VFX Artist React. Quarter Crew has a YouTube channel. That's the YouTube channel. His name is Quarter Crew, but they have a VFX Artist React series. And sometimes they get like big names on their show to talk about their own special effects. And they had Gareth Edwards to talk about a bunch of his movies.
What a great guest.
Great guess. And they're talking to him about the Tarkin thing. And one of the things I thought was so interesting about that was, so when they filmed the scenes with Guy Henry and Ben Mendelsohn performing, they took like very meticulous, detailed account for how they were lighting the scene, so that when they went into the editing and special effects and they put the Tarkin
You could digitally light it the same way.
You could digitally light it the same way. But they found out when they did that, it didn't look right, because like they were like, oh, it looks like Peter Cushing. It doesn't look like Tarkin. And so what they ended up having to do was they went back and reviewed all the scenes in A New Hope, and all of the scenes with Peter Cushing in A New Hope is he's lit pretty flat. Like there's not a lot of shadows in his face. He's just pretty well lit all around.
Just the way they like filmed movies back then.
Back just how they filmed A New Hope. So what they did was they just had to tweak the lighting for just Tarkin to make the lighting on his face more flat to sort of sell it was Tarkin more. And I just thought that was just a very interesting.
It's like, this is how you're used to seeing him.
Yeah,
we don't know what he would look like in this lighting because they never did that.
Right.
Yeah, just a very interesting sort of way of going about making that character.
I also love that, now we know that he's the leader of the Death Star because he's a petty bitch and he stole someone else's thunder. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just neat.
He's a really good upper middle. He's very good upper middle management.
Taking all your accolades in front of the boss.
I was the one that did this thing. Not Krennic. He's a bitch.
I think he rules in this movie. Like the moment where he is like, ooh, I can steal his thunder and wipe him out at the same time.
And Darth Vader's the kind of boss who really respects the chain of command and gets annoyed if you try to go around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm still in charge. Be careful not to choke on my dick. Your aspirations. Sorry. That joke. I knew I shouldn't say it.
Sorry.
I just wanted to point out this, leading into the scene, there's a shot of a Star Destroyer coming through the shadow of, I guess, a planet, or because the Death Star is behind it. But the reveal of the Star Destroyer from shadow and then the Death Star itself, like coming through that as well, really awesome. Like really, really cool.
The effects,
establishing shot.
So many tiny textures on every one of these ships, and especially like the dog fights later. It's like
it's amazing,
it's fucking incredible. Then we cut to Jyn's dreaming memories of her father. There's all kinds of backstory stuff there. She's haunted by her past. We get it, right? They land on Jeddah. There's a destroyer there because the Empire is actively trying to fight off what Saw Gerrera's people are doing on Jeddah. So that's why there's all these like police essentially.
And they're stealing all the kyber that's left on the planet.
Yeah, they're mining the kyber crystals
too.
Yeah, the kyber crystals are not only what powers the lightsabers, but it's what's powering the Death Star.
Yep.
I love that they're, and she's basically raises the point that K2 is too big and clunky to be hiding around the city. So he has to wait on the ship. He's upset about that.
I love how he just despondently drops her
when he drops her shit. Like, fine. It's so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, thank you for being concerned about me. And she's like, well, I'm just worried they'll miss you and hit me. I don't see what's so terrible about that. Like, he's so sassy.
So petty.
He's good. God, he's good.
The Borgullet is feeling up on Bodhi's thoughts.
No lie is safe. Borgullet likes strobe lights.
Is that the Cantina guy that we see in
Ponda
Jeddah?
Baba and Dr. Evazan?
Evazan?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the two people they bump into in the
bump
alley?
into.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the same two. Apparently, all they do in Star Wars is go from planet to planet and try to start fights and streets and shit.
Yeah.
But you know who we are.
Ponda Baba has both his arms, though. So
That's true, yeah. He hasn't got them cut off yet.
Prequel.
Yeah.
We know what's going to happen to those dudes the next day.
Yeah.
I don't like you either. It's that guy, right?
Yeah. We have the death sentence on 12 systems.
Theoretically, they were on Jeddah, and then they're like, fuck it, let's go to Tatooine and drink.
Well, they definitely got off of Jeddah very soon after this because they're not dead.
Right.
But I just thought that was neat. I noticed, but they hope to get a meeting with Saul, and we get the whole bit about rebellions being built on hope. We get that from Cassian. Donnie Yen as Chirrut. He can feel that she's wearing a kyber crystal.
Give me that crystal. I'll tell you your future.
And we learn about the Guardians of the Wills. But Cassian's very upset when he meets back up with her. This whole city's ready to blow, right?
Yeah.
He can feel some shenanigans about to pop off. And then it pops off
Yeah.
immediately. He
He's like,
wasn't
this
wrong.
city's about to blow. See, it's happening in real time now.
We get this great guerrilla warfare sequence. All of Saul's people jump up. What's that little minion guy? What species?
Oh, the little dude?
Are you familiar with him?
No,
I don't know his name. But yeah, he's good.
In my notes,
That mouth is great.
Yeah.
I keep writing in my notes like, they got a little guy. All the little guys got a gun.
Yeah.
There's
He's
a
vicious.
there's a real quick scene in this where a
He's an
little
angry
girl
elf. Sorry.
where a little girl is like crying in the street, and she's too young to be acting, and it kills me every time. Just that real quick, like her like crying in the street, like scared. Because like,
What do you think
clearly,
they did to make her
I
start
know.
crying?
That's what I think. Like
You know
what
that
did they
on
make her
set,
do?
they're
Like
your
what?
mommy's left forever.
Yeah,
you
like
know.
what did they scare her with to make her cry?
Like Gareth Edward just walked up and said, "You're not getting McDonald's later today." No.
Yeah, with my daughter, you just maybe you turned off Elmo, or she wanted to play with their remote control, and
it's
they
just
said no.
It just hits me in the feels every single time. Like, oh, poor girl.
But Jyn saves her.
Yeah.
And I love how the mom's like, "Give me my fucking shit."
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Unlike Lyra, most mothers are very concerned about their children. This episode of Streaming Things is sponsored by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp.
You know, Steve, there's something I need to get off my chest.
What's that, fella?
It's been weighing on me. You know that I resigned at the day job recently, right? And I've been a little scared. There's a family to worry about. There's health insurance. There's capitalism.
Sounds like a stressful time.
But we all carry around different stressors, big and small. And it feels better when you bring something to the light and keep them bottled up. It can start to affect us negatively. And therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. In my case, it's all of the stress, the misery, the fear. But I had to come over here and share that with you, and I felt better. You know, that's a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
Unloading all that on you and Erica and feeling better myself.
That's sounds like my Friday night.
Sometimes you just need somebody to listen. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you're not vibing, that's completely fine. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings.
April is here, the tomb is empty, and it's time to give a special thanks to all of our patrons who keep the lights on at Streaming Things. And I want to give a special shout out to our super patrons for the month of April. Thank you so much to Stanton Valentino, Maddlestat, Bryce Coppin, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Sunshine, Huckleberry Cauliflower, Ashley Hazen, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, Emily Scarano, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Bluff Pum, A.K. Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Wendy O'Laughlin, Jason Hawkins, Conrad, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, John Collins, Amanda King, Trisha Bueller, Sun Loving, Mortal, Suzanne Rode, Jen Robinson, Kalisha Reeves, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Ashley Powers, Stephen the Fifth, Casey McCain, and Enza. Thank you all so much from the bottom of our hearts. And with that, let's get back to the episode.
And we get fucking ATST rolls up. I like that they're remembering to use those because, like, other than Empire, you never see them. And
like you see a guy like take a shot straight from its like its forward cannon too, which is like,
and he's probably fine.
Yeah,
he lived.
Rub some dirt on that. You'll be fine.
I wanted to save it for later, but I wanted to see what you guys thought. Like, other than that, the AT-ATs and stuff the AT-ATs are in this movie. That's neat, but they're much easier to kill in this movie.
Well, technically, these are AT-CTs, I think. They're different. They're cargo transports, not armor transports.
And also, X-Wings have stronger
than the things that were on the Hoth ships.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The snow speeders were like converted, like transport ships, essentially, not like fighters.
I did take note that they're, I remember saying in Empire, like, they shot him right in the fucking face. It does nothing. And in this one, they were like, bye, bitch.
Yeah. These are for carrying they're for carrying cargo.
I know one was hollow. Like, they didn't even have walls on the side.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, the ATST rolls up. And then I love the scene where she shoots an Imperial droid. And for a second, the first time you're watching it, you're like, oh, fuck. Because she even goes, oh, fuck. And then when it falls, K2's right behind him. Did you know that wasn't me? And they're like, I thought I told you to stay on the ship. And he's like, I got bored.
Every line he says in this scene is gold. Every single
when he
line
chucks the
is
grenade
like,
behind him.
Oh, it's so
Dude,
good.
when he catches the grenade and he's just holding it for a second,
Yeah.
and she's like, and then he just chucks it behind him. He's not even looking at people.
And he kills like 6
It's
troopers.
gold. It's gold.
So
I
good.
guess I'll just go back to the ship. You don't need me.
He's so petty.
So money.
Love it.
Yeah. But the troopers end up taking them
These
from
are
K2.
prisoners. I'm taking them to prison. And that's a fresh one for you if you mouth off again.
Yeah, ends up slapping Cassian.
Cassian loses a tooth.
Chirrut says, I'm not going to allow you to arrest him. I'm standing up, goddammit.
Let them pass in peace.
The Force is with me and I'm with the Force. One with the Force, sorry.
I love the one. There's one trooper ADR in the background who goes, he's blind.
Is he deaf too?
He beats the fuck out of all of them, but then he almost gets got by the reinforcements. And that's when Baze stands up and mows them all down with his laser Gatling gun.
You almost shot me.
Chirrut uses a trooper as a shield in this scene, and that guy gets it bad. He gets so.
You would think that they would go through him, you know?
Yeah.
But he's got armor.
Sure. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, that armor doesn't do much.
No,
but yeah.
it doesn't do much.
I mean, this is a straight up like down and dirty action brawler scene that we never get in Star Wars.
It's dope.
And it's so cool.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it.
That armor's useless.
Is your
though.
foot okay?
No hostiles. One hostile. Love that moment as well.
Baze is a cold motherfucker because like he shoots all those guys. There's that fun little line where Chirrut's like, you almost shot me. He's like, you're welcome. And just walks up to the one surviving trooper point blank.
That's what I'm saying. We don't get
Shoots
this
him.
kind of shit in Star Wars.
The
usually.
entrance to those
Ice
two,
cold.
like their like relationship is just like the perfect way to intro both of these characters.
Yeah. Baze Malbus is my hero.
He rules.
Love him so much.
I ship him.
Yeah, me too, buddy. But Saul's goons descend upon them at that moment. And then we get
there's this really nice scene, like the tank when the ATSC scene, because they have to shoot a couple troopers, but then one dude tries to throw a grenade that would kill Jyn. So Cassian shoots him, and the one
That's one of
guy,
Saul's people, though.
one of Saul's people sees that and is like, oh, okay. And so that's why they want to capture these guys, because they're like, oh, you just ruined our thing.
Yeah, we were doing a whole thing.
We're having a great time.
Yeah.
And then you came and ruined it.
They were stealing Kyber.
You crashed our terrorism.
That's what they were doing. Yeah. Sorry, I started a fight.
Party foul, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But then what happens is so funny because they put a bag on Chirrut's head.
Are you kidding me? I'm blind.
Really? It works for me.
It's funny. I like that bit.
And also, there's another funny moment coming up soon. But anyway, the crew's locked up in Saul's caves, and they're all talking about being in prison. And Andor says, this is a first for me as well. But it's not. Right, Steve? Isn't he in prison for an extended sequence in Andor?
Yeah, he's not in a prison like this, though. He's in an Imperial prison. I don't know if maybe that might be like an overlooked thing.
I think it is. That's all. I'm trying to be like a
Maybe he forgot.
clever nerd guy.
I think you are being
like
forgot.
one of those. Yeah.
He was like, oh, except for the, that's fine.
It's where they were all building the Death Star equipment.
Dude, that prison break scene in Andor, so good.
Chub. Jyn is angry that Saul left her. And honestly, this scene works for me. I think it's a heartwarming sequence where he seems genuinely hurt. Like the one person in the galaxy that he actually cares about.
You come to kill me?
But more so his reasoning. Like, all of my friends were gonna ransom you.
They
you know
all
what
suck.
I mean? Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
They hate kids.
Yeah.
We don't even have a real desert table out there. They're using pieces, physical pieces.
They don't even appreciate art.
The one dude's watching a cam show where everyone can see.
They like that.
It's gross.
They like that.
Gus, turn it off. We can see it all.
The painting of the dogs playing poker. That's their favorite. I just thought it was touching. It was like a good reason that he abandoned her. You know, it just kind of made sense.
Yeah, because they wanted to use her as a hostage because they found out she was an Imperial scientist daughter.
But he's even paranoid about her. Like you said, you joked. You know, he goes off the deep end for a second.
He like starts to like go down this like weird
He pulls himself back.
conspiracy theory thing, and then she's just like waiting, and then she just like breezes past it like I'm not even going to engage with that, and then he like snaps right out of it at that point.
It's like if you have a boomer parent and you visit for the weekend.
Yeah. And they're like, dog's eyes aren't real, and you're like, okay, mom. Anyway,
and then they decide that they're going to destroy Jeddah City as a demonstration. There's the whole bit about Tarkin coming down hard on Krennic. Does it even actually work? Let's blow this whole fucking city up, of many of which are our employees down there. Like, let's just literally kill.
Well, they evacuated the Imperial.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's actually if you know how the movie, like you've seen it before, and so when you're watching again, there's that shot where all the Imperials are just like evacuating very quickly, and you're like, and then some of the like townspeople are like, oh, where are they going? Kind of looking and watching. It's kind of ominous if you know what's going to happen.
It's very sad.
It's like, ooh, that's not a good sign.
The way the Star Destroyer looks in low orbit during this moment looks a lot like District 9, like how the ship just like hangs right above
How's it
the
hanging?
landscape. And like the way it just like slowly moves away, like it reminds me a lot of that, like the visual style of
District
that
9's fucking great.
movie. Yeah,
That movie's awesome.
it's great.
Chappie, however.
Chappie's got a book. Fuck you stole Chappie's dad's car. You stole daddy's car.
Bodhi, the pilot, is in the cell next to them, and
He's feeling that boar gullet.
he is. He's still high on the Borgullet. It just gave him mind-blowing head. Is what. It's better not
Do you
awaken
guys know
something in me.
Are you guys aware of hentai? Bodhi got a real good look into it.
He lost his mind.
Yeah. Up above, Saul is showing Jyn Galen's message. It's the hologram. He spends most of the crucial time that he has apologizing to his daughter, who may or may not be dead, but it worked out because she's seeing it. And ironically, like really quickly, you know what I mean? Like she got to that message quick. So his plan works. But he says that he laid a trap for the Death Star, right? Yep.
If you take out the reactor, the whole system will go down, which is funny because isn't that how all ships in Star Wars work? If you take out the reactor, the whole system. Didn't they just do that in the Phantom Menace with the droid control ship?
The like main reactors by like the hangar bay.
Yes. But in this particular instance,
I did this really clever thing where if you blow up the reactor, it blows up.
what he did was make a direct shot
like
to
a
it.
straight shot.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what he did. Now it's very hard to get to.
It's only 2 meters wide.
No normal pilot could hit it.
Unless
Of course, if you bullseye Womp Rats in a T-16 though.
That's right. I was trying to think of that.
Those are not much bigger than 2 meters.
Right.
Wedge. You little bitch.
The city blows up. There's no horizon. It's crazy. They end up busting out. They take the pilot. They look for Cassian goes to look for Jyn, and Saul's like, I'm not going to run any longer. I just want to die. I'm not going to lie. My life sucks.
Save the rebellion. Save the dream. Go.
What if at the last second to fuck with him, they were like, no. That's his last thing he hears.
Fuck the rebellion.
Yeah.
Deceit lies. And he's like waddling after them and is like, I'm coming. I changed my mind.
Nobody took the Borgullet.
Oh, the Borgullet died.
Oh, man.
He didn't see that coming. That sucks. I'd like to think
be
that
fair, he was
Bodhi's
like,
got it.
I would rather die than live in this fucking cave for the rest of my Borgullet life.
Probably.
Borgullets live for a long time.
Probably.
But everybody's happy about Krennic's work up on the Death Star. Good job, Krennic.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Lovely little gun.
This explosion looks so awesome too. Like how you see it from like the point of view of the people on the land, and then like again from above. Like they really like luxuriate on this specific shot. Like it's like a really cool like seeing the land like essentially fold up like from where the
I like the idea that you can then turn it down too. Something I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
He's like, let's blow up the whole moon.
Like a
and
dimmer
Target's
switch.
like, no, not the whole moon. There's no reason to do that.
We need a statement, not a manifesto.
so cool. So cool.
Just Jeddah then. Okay, fuck Jeddah.
Fuck the holy city of Jeddah.
And like the way they like make the like 1970s looking Star Wars tech look futuristic and modern too. Like that's an achievement because they don't change a lot. They like stay within that aesthetic, but they don't but they make old 40-year-old tech look really good still.
Yeah, apparently there was an edict on the production design. Yeah, they were saying like anything that they made, like new props or like any sort of computer interface they had to design, can only be designed with what tech was available in 1970 in mind.
Oh, cool.
So that they could try to keep things as close to A New Hope as possible.
Yeah,
which I thought was
that's so cool.
Great idea.
You could actually fuck a Borgullet in real one.
Is that what you've been Googling this whole time?
Like having a conversation about like
yes,
set design. And
You've been over there Googling
like,
something.
Can you fuck a Borgullet? Chat GPT. Can you fuck a Borgullet?
No, I'm saying
Borgullet?
in this universe on our Steve,
Me?
because
I can fuck a Borgullet?
yes, they made that Borgullet.
Oh, looky.
It's 2.5 tons of silicone were used in the
Jesus.
process. And Borgullet was ultimately realized as a life-sized 10 by 6 by 6 foot puppet operated by a crew of 15 puppeteers.
That wasn't CGI?
No.
Well, I'm sure there was CG at the tentacles probably
Tentacles
were,
but
the main body, like the blobby eye and everything.
Holy cow.
Yeah, you
Well,
can see them wheeling around in behind the scenes videos.
whoa.
10 by 6 by 6 feet. Yeah, it doesn't say much. I just want to know a little bit about their creature, but it's,
So does like Steve
a
Sansweet have
myron.
that in his
the
in his
species.
compound?
Actually, so I think Borgullet is its fucking name.
Steve Sansweet has that in his bedroom. I'll be in my quarters.
It's an ensuite. You guys are going to disgust Enza with your poor French. It's a myron is the species, by the way. And Borgullet is this, I think it's
That's his
name.
buddy. That's
No,
like
You're
if,
not processing this info. This is mind blowing.
so that's like if like I was like, I don't trust you, Pippin.
Get this. Yeah, you'd be like,
Get Pippin.
get Phil. Exactly. It's get Borgullet.
Pippin knows all. But unfortunately, you lose one's mind if he kisses you too much.
This might tickle a little bit.
Are you actually a rebel pilot? I'm gonna have to dig a little
Please
deeper.
design this shirt. I will wear this shirt. Pippin the Rebel Borgullet.
Pippin.
I love the taste of Bodhi.
You're my bestest friend.
I love Bodhi.
I don't know if he loves me back. I'm gonna have to look deeper.
All right, fans, folks, listeners, you've reached the point of the show that either makes you a lifetime diehard fan of streaming things, or you're about to turn it off. Welcome. We reach that apex at every episode.
Will you cross the Rubicon with us? Or will you shut the podcast down?
But in this scene, Tarkin says, "No, bitch, I'm taking the Death Star." Also, there's a major drama on Edu. By the way, that's Jyn Erso's crib.
Get your house in order.
And that's why everybody hates you.
We stand upon my achievement, not yours.
Yep.
I love how he like waits for this moment where like Krennic is like as high as he can get. He's like, I feel good about this. Like I've proven myself. And then Tarkin's like, hey, you're demoted. And also there's some bullshit that you're responsible for. Like I knew all this before, but like I'm choosing now to drop this information on you.
Since you're going to buck me taking the Death Star.
Yeah.
Here's some relevant info for that ass.
It's like really terrible of him.
I mean, it's the least terrible thing that he does.
Sure. But sure.
I'm just really jealous of that cape you wear. It looks dope.
This is the guy that destroys an entire planet full of people, but it's being mean to his underling.
To Orson
that
Krennic.
Phil says is will
This
not
is where I
stand.
draw the line, damn it.
He spent too much time in corporate America to not be rubbed the wrong way by this. So the mission to assassinate Galen is still active when Cassian calls back to the rebels to update them, check in. Bodhi talks to Jyn. She's the only one who saw the message, though. Saw the message. And but it's really sad because she's like, hey, my dad's not an evil person. He built a flaw deep into the Death Star. We need to go rescue him. And Cassian, like, kind of logically, he barely knows her. He's starting to care for her, but I get it. Like, he's like, well, let's see the message then, And she's like, I don't have it on me. However.
Did you see it, Bodhi?
Nope, didn't watch it. I was forbidden. I didn't have the right MP3 player.
It all happened so fast. I didn't pick up the Zune.
It was a zip file. I had to extract it.
I don't have WinZip on my computer.
So the plans to the Death Star are on Scarif, which, by the way, okay. I know I talked about in my opening that this is the biggest like plot hole part of this movie. You guys kind of looked at me with glazed eyes, like you don't agree. But
I just don't care. Like it's just not.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's
like,
just not enough of like a
it's
plot
a
hole.
silly
to be like,
idea that the Empire would like store their files on one planet.
Well, I'm sure there are other example like I'm sure it's not the only copy.
Hopefully not, because they readily destroy this planet.
Yeah. I don't think they're
all
like
the other secret things like that Black Saber initiative. Like that's not no one. Well, I guess that's fucked.
I mean,
Well,
like
that's the dark saber, right?
I have all of my like pictures and stuff on an external hard drive in one place. So they're like you can store stuff in one place.
The rebels are here. Turn off the cloud.
That's basically what happened. Yeah. But
And like since this is like a file that is like big enough that it has to be like transmitted via satellite, then it's clear like they need a lot of storage for
it's a
the amount
firewire
of information.
I think, basically. Like,
I think you're right though. Like it is a plot hole, but like it's so minor that I don't care.
But I could see the plans of the Death Star being a pretty big file, though.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. If it's unzipped,
Yeah, I know. I think that's
I mean, like at least 1 gig.
you definitely couldn't
Right.
email it. It would have to go to Google Drive.
Yeah, if you try to upload that onto Outlook, it would be like, this is too
Forget
big.
it.
You can't send it, man.
I think
Syncing
when
to
we
OneDrive.
when we worked at the movies back when we got a digital projector, the hard drives for those movies would come in and those files were like 500 gig. So, and that was just like a 2-hour movie. But a planet-sized death machine, like theoretically could have
Yeah,
a
the
lot
schematics.
more. So, yeah.
Every bathroom is on that thing.
Yeah.
Every pipe.
Right.
Right. Every hair dryer.
Right.
I can go on. The items that are likely on that thing.
Right.
A lot. Oh,
Yeah.
A trash compactor. We know that.
Yeah, true.
And the
Yeah.
lizard that needs to go in there.
Yep.
Dino Yoga.
What? Dino yoga?
Yep.
Yeah, Dino Yoga.
Just a T-Rex in there doing down dog?
Yep. He
Being
can't quite
disturbed?
get down.
Yeah.
I can't do the downward dog very well.
So we cut to Edu, where Jyn Erso and his base is, all of his little engineer buddies, his nerd friends. They don't do well landing on Edu, our rebel friends. They're pretty terrible at it. In fact, they crash the ship for no conceivable reason other than that it's dark.
The planet Edu is inspired by the planet from Alien.
Don't.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Aliens or Alien?
Or more like Covenant when they actually go.
Isn't it the same planet?
Well, in 2, you actually go down on the planet, but in Alien, they're just on the ship.
It's just on the ship.
But isn't the ship on the planet?
I don't think so.
thought it was
the
in
crash ship that they get the
orbit.
eggs, because that's the reason why in Aliens they're on that planet is because that's where that ship was, right?
It's been a while since I've seen it, so probably you're probably right. But I
Edu.
remember Aliens being the one where they were more.
They get on foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that planet.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Covenant. He goes hardcore on Covenant. Nobody's talking about Covenant, but I will. I'll stand up for you, Daddy.
I don't like that movie.
You're wrong. The rebels decide. Well, I don't know why I wrote it this way, but the rebels decide to blow Edu themselves. Sorry. Let me. I get it. It's when they can't contact Cassian and the gang anymore, so they decide they're going to fly X-wings and just
Because
kill
they know
Galen.
Galen's there and they want to kill him. Yeah.
Let's murder everybody there. That's what we do.
What other weapons is he building for the Empire?
Yes.
Says Wish Kelsey Grammer.
And Cassian's like, I need to go alone. I'm going to go scout by myself. And nobody worry about this. And then does it look like a killer? You know, because Chirrut can feel murder in the air. A smell killing. It smells like burnt bacon when somebody's about to kill.
Yeah.
Little known fact about the Force. And
And
even
also K2S. So it's
snitches on his buddy.
By the way,
Yeah.
he had his sniper rifle set to snipe.
Yeah, it was in the sniper configuration. It's usually not what scouts do. Take a rifle.
And he also like questions him like in front of Jyn, like, so you're going alone? Why? Like Jyn should go. And he's like, no, I'm going alone.
Even K2's not about this.
No.
He
Yeah.
doesn't like this at all. But Chirrut's going to go follow Jyn. And then, of course, Baze is going to follow Chirrut.
I don't need luck. I have you.
but I'm not with you.
Bates is like, son of a bitch, it's raining.
I see what you did. Yeah.
He flattered me. I have to go with him.
Do I have to take my Gatling gun? This backpack is so heavy.
It's attached to me.
You never not see me with it.
Don't know how to take it off.
I'm like a toy. I
I
always
smell
got it.
so bad in the suit because I've never taken it
I've never
off.
washed this spot on my back, ever. They spot Galen as Krennic arrives out there on the gangway or whatever, on the runway. He's just out there strutting his stuff for his engineer buddies.
Like, work it. Yes.
Yeah, the techno, whatever they are, crafts
This
are out
collection's called Stardust.
there. Nice.
Stardust by Erso.
That's just how they pass time on Edu. Cassian sends Bodhi away because it's time for the kill. And Bodhi's like, what do you mean? We were hanging out. We were just starting to bond. But Krennic gathers the engineers there. Galen comes forward to save them because he's about to kill one of the engineers.
I'll consider it a group effort. One of you betrayed the Empire.
3, 2, 1.
It was me.
I did it. I knew you did it.
Obviously, it was me.
Yeah, right.
Cassian can't pull the trigger. He's not going to kill Galen.
He sees that he's a good dude.
Krennic kills all of the engineers anyway.
I know.
What a dick.
What a dick.
We can all agree. He's a dick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, those dudes could have made more things for the
Weaponry.
Empire,
Yeah, sure.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not only is he a
I mean,
dick.
they know how it's made at this point.
It's impractical.
Could just make another one if they ever had plans to make another Death Star. I don't know.
I don't know why they
Second
would.
one, maybe?
Maybe.
They could build a third one even bigger. Make the Death Star look like a tiny Death Star.
I like that one.
Crazy.
They could call it
Good
a
idea.
Star Killer or something.
And
And
but
would this
also
be
it's
like a
base.
space station or was this like a base?
I think it's going to be more of a base.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Personally.
Great.
What if you took the Death Star
Yeah.
and put it in a planet?
Ooh, and maybe the planet has like the fuel for the Death Star itself, so
Yeah.
they don't have to like off-world collect
Yeah.
How
resources.
about this? As time goes on, you learn how to make smaller, more portable versions of the Death Star, and you put them on thousands of destroyers.
No.
It is a dumb idea. So he boasts about Jeddah being destroyed, and then the Alliance comes rolling up tough.
rolling.
I just
Yo, dude, please cut Limp Bizkit into that.
Yeah.
isn't that the video where
Back up, no, get down. So what do you want to do now?
I think that was the last music video filmed on top of the World Trade too. What? We were talking about Limp Bizkit. That's a fact.
Is it really?
Yes. Look it up. Look it up right now. Look it up. It's crazy that that's the last thing. And they filmed that in like June too. Like it was crazy.
Somehow you've made 9/11 even more of a tragedy.
I didn't do it.
You did this.
I
Phil.
didn't do it.
You did this.
Fred Durst and company did that. Not me.
The others of the Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
That's the company. Do what you speak.
I just got to point out that Krennic does not immediately run away during this fight. He stays.
He's not scared.
Yeah.
He is a murderous bastard.
He's bad. He's badass.
Says Jyn. And then boom, things blow up. Things being father.
Come on.
And then they fight. Yeah,
Chirrut at one point no scopes a TIE fighter.
Oh, that's so cool.
he does. He's got like
he's got a bowcaster
Chewbacca type
himself.
thing.
Yeah. I love it. It looks like one of those like, remember when you were a kid and then there was that water gun that you would like stick into
Yes.
a bucket and you like pulled it back to fill it out and then
Yeah.
you pressed it in to squirt the water.
Yeah.
Exactly like
That's what
that.
his gun reminds me of.
That's what it is. He squirted that TIE fighter.
Squirt.
This is the only instance of like person versus tie that I like. Because I typically hate it when like they show like Ray and Rise
Backflipping
like,
over the thing,
I
yeah.
hate that scene, but this scene rules because like it's believable that he's got like a weapon that could essentially take out enough of a tie, and he's by using the force like nails it, and then. Do you think he knew that if he shot it at the precise moment at the trajectory that it was going, that it would then crash into more shit?
I like to think no, like he's like, was that cool, Baze? Baze, did I hit it?
Yeah.
And Baze
All of
like,
it.
but no, Baze would be like, just to keep him humble, be like,
Yeah.
no, you missed.
Dang.
I heard an explosion though, unrelated.
Yeah.
I did that with my big gun. Papa, it's me.
Dude, Galen does the most dick thing ever. So he's like lying there. He's dead on the platform. And Jen's like, Papa, Papa. And he's like, Fievel, Papa, Fievel. No, but he goes like, Jyn, I have so much to tell you.
The most tragic last words of all time. The most tragic last words of all time.
Kit, come closer. Come closer.
Bogullet.
I have to tell you something. Bogullet.
Do you think the Bogullet could read a dead man's thoughts? Like just mine his brain?
Yeah, there's like the 5-second rule.
The 5-second rule.
Bogullet, hurry. He's getting cold.
Go.
So he dies. K2 and Bodhi have stolen an Imperial ship.
Bodhi takes his first step into a murderous new life.
Yeah,
He does.
He takes some shots at the troopers following Jyn and Andor.
He's like, yes, that felt good. That was Carl. I fucking hated him. We went to boot camp together. Jyn confronts Cassian about wanting to murder her father. And he's like, sit down. Anybody else got any?
Come on.
No more. Let's go.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I like what Andor says. He's basically like, he's trying to defend himself. And he goes like, some of us didn't have the luxury of not fighting. Like some of us have been doing this since we were
all
6.
for the nookie is what he says.
I did it all for the nookie. I don't like that. I know what you're saying. Like,
Well, I'm saying I like the scene. I don't think it justifies what he's doing
he's
at all.
talking to the wrong one.
Exactly.
She just got out of prison. She had a horrible life.
Yeah.
But then he does say, you're not the only one who's lost everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, again, I know this show was created afterward. I've been fighting this fight since I was 6 years old. No, you haven't.
Well, I feel like we might see
No, you haven't.
something there.
What do you mean?
Well,
Andor too?
I don't want to like spoil the first season of Andor for people, but I think there's more to it that we will see in season 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you after the show.
Yeah,
what I
please
think.
do.
But but yes, in Andor, a big part of that show is how he gets
He's
aligned
kind of a
with
Jyn
the
Erso.
Rebel Alliance. Yeah, he's like a Jyn Erso for a long time, and then he joins the Rebel Alliance. But if you remember in the first couple episodes, there's a lot of flashbacks to him as a child on a planet that had something to do with the Empire. Yeah.
That's right. I do recall. I recall. So yeah, then we get that whole, and then he's like, we're going back to Yavin 4. Anybody else got any shit to say? And they're like, no. Everybody looks down. Cassian's scary. That guy from Itu Mama Tembien, terrifying. Vader. We cut to Vader on Mustafar, right? Mustafar.
My lord, can you please get out of the bath? Krennic's here for
I
his
love
meeting.
that they showed him without his, because they're like, look, we're practical. This is a grounded movie. He is not always wearing that thing, right? Yeah. He's going to go to the back to tank for a while.
Especially when he's at his home.
And he basically looks like Baron Harkonnen when he's not in that.
This is my dune.
Smash. Yeah, Krennic has arrived.
Krennic has like the worst waiting room experience
just lava.
because he's like, there's nowhere to sit.
Yeah,
there's no
railing.
railing. Shit.
He just
I have to
sits
talk
on
to
the
this
Force,
big
so
bad guy.
there's no chairs. Be careful not to choke on your aspirations.
And then he does the little like, don't look at it.
Yeah.
I forget what you call that thing. That little like when you make your like index finger and thumb into
it's
a
just the
circle,
okay symbol.
but you put it below your waist and try to get people to look at it. But like Vader does it like, oh, gotcha.
Punch buggy.
Krennic gets inducted into the Choked by Darth Daddy Club here, which
There's
is like a
7
big deal.
members. Yeah.
And did you notice? I think Krennic liked it because there's that
he
cut
smiled.
back to him where he's like,
Yeah.
oh, Daddy.
Yeah.
For sure.
No,
It awoke something
He's just
in
more
him.
happy that Daddy Vader he was perceived.
Yeah.
And that Daddy Vader's going to tell the Emperor about. You'll tell the Emperor about me. Will you tell me? Will you tell him how pretty I am?
Daddy touched my esophagus.
Where's the daddy choke stuff?
Oh, well, now we're cutting to all the different sects of the rebellion.
Excuse me?
Whoa.
Sects.
Rebellion
I missed
sects.
this scene.
Yeah, so Pamelo wants to surrender, and the rebels at their rebel council start to argue. They've got their own mini senate. I love this scene. I think it's wonderful. Somebody says, what chance do we have fighting against them? And I think it's Jen that says, what chance? What choice?
Such a good line.
Rebellions,
she proposing?
That's my favorite guy.
rebellions are built on hope, right? We have no hope, or all we have is a hope And Mon Mothma, you can tell, is like, yeah,
they are.
I don't want to lose the next election. However,
That's how you build
I
it.
like what you're saying.
Barack Obama, baby, hope.
Say it slower.
But she says sorry.
All we need to defeat the Empire is a little hope.
That's right.
That's all we need. Michelle and I, not a fan.
It's rare, but I do agree.
Thank you, Bernie.
But yeah, they ultimately say, hey, we don't have enough votes.
There's a couple people
Like don't believe her. Like some of them don't believe
yeah.
that it's real.
Yeah, they're Death Star truthers.
Yeah.
Like, who are we going to believe? This fugitive and her Imperial pilot friend. Okay.
Yeah. But like, also I get why they would be like kind of sus about that. Like, I don't know. Like she does have proof and also like.
Yeah, that's what's so great about this movie. If you look at it, their plan,
makes
absurd.
sense. Yeah. Right.
I wouldn't go.
Right. Like I get why there's like a sect that's like, no.
You have all the different sects in the rebellion. This is the one I'm least interested in.
Right.
Well, we got to point out Admiral Radis.
Yeah.
Who is not Akbar.
Who is not Akbar.
He's not a radish either. It took me a long time.
He actually, the
Because
ship.
I just watched Spirited Away again. And I was like, Admiral Radish.
Admiral Radish. The ship that Holdo hyperspaces into the Empire?
The one on which she does the Holdo maneuver, you're
Yes.
saying.
That is the Radis. So that ship is named after that character.
Oh.
Fun fact. But also, you remember the character Jan Dodonna from A New Hope? He's one of the bearded Imperial, not Imperial, rebel leaders.
Yeah.
He's in the scene. He is recast. Kit will like who plays him, who they recast Jan Dodonna.
Kristen Stewart.
Oh my God.
How could you imagine?
Stop.
Did you recognize Sir Barristan Selmy?
I did
in
not.
the background of the scene. He has a line at one point in the scene.
No.
Yeah, they recast Jan Dodonna as with Ian. How do you pronounce his name? Ian McElhinney.
Mm-hmm.
Barristan and Selmy himself in Star Wars.
He deserved more
What's
lines.
he say? What's his line?
He says something like, I think it's something along the lines of like, "What are you proposing?" or something like that. It was just like
he's
a
that
cut
guy.
to.
he's not that dude, but it was something along those lines where he's like,
Yeah.
I have a line, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Interesting. At this point, I believe it's, what's Jimmy Smith's name?
Bail Organa.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to go back to Alderaan. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry. I guess, also, you should call your Jedi friend. Oh, yeah, I got him on speed dial.
I'm gonna send somebody to
Got
for that
somebody
guy.
you can trust.
I would trust her with my life.
Yeah.
The princess herself. We get a General Syndulla name drop at one point over the
I wrote that
PA.
down. Yeah. So I didn't catch that because I didn't watch Rebels. Was that? But I did watch Ahsoka, so I only know her from that. But but I caught that this time as a result of watching it.
Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character from Ahsoka. General Syndulla. They call her name out on the PA system.
I thought her name was Mommy.
It was
That's weird.
It is, yeah.
They also steal one of the ships and they leave the rebel base and say, this is a Rogue One. That's how they get
Yeah,
there.
because a lot of the people like Andor and a couple of the other dudes like Melshi, they want to fight. They're like, hey, the Rebel Council, they're wrong. We're with you, Jyn.
And K2SO will be there for her too because Cassian said so.
I'll be there for you, Jyn. Cassian said I had to.
You might think that undercuts the emotional weight of that scene, but for me,
It does
it's
not.
a perfect little
it's great.
So
garnish on a great scene. So then they get to Scarif, and then they get the whole discussion about how it's the entire planet is shielded except for one little butthole that they have to enter with consent. And
Do you know how they came up with the name for Scarif?
No.
Gareth Edwards went to a Starbucks and they wrote his name wrong on his cup.
Yeah.
And say instead of Gareth, they wrote Scarif.
Wow.
Yeah, so he thought it was a funny
fun.
name, and so he kept it. He memory hold it for this.
That's
planet.
super cool.
So thank you, Starbucks,
So-
for always getting everyone's name wrong.
So Jeanette at the Starbucks on insert intersection here is responsible for naming that.
Yep. Congratulations,
Nice.
Janet.
Cool.
Gareth Edwards. When we get the whole bit about not me, I can survive in space. That's funny. And then they make it through the gate, luckily, right? And then they make the plan. Here's the plan. We're just going to go get the plans and then come back to the ship.
Yeah, us three important characters, top build characters. We're gonna get the plans. Everyone else,
on
you're
the ship.
meat puppets.
Yeah. You go make a diversion.
Go make a diversion.
Except
Make
for
10
Bodhi.
men feel like 100.
Bodhi stays on the ship. By the way, love it. After 10 straight movies in the darkness of space or on a desert, we finally get
A beach.
a beach planet.
Yeah,
Right.
this
I love that they would put the plans there so they could hang out.
Yeah.
I feel like the original trilogy, all of those planets have a very distinct feel. Like I know
Stark.
exactly
It's
what
very
planet
stark.
we're looking at. Like you could show me a picture of Hoth. I know it's Hoth. You can show
Snow.
me a picture of Endor. I know that's Endor.
Trees.
Yeah.
This is the first planet I think that's new in the Disney verse that I could be like, that's Scarif.
Trees and sand.
That's right. Palm trees.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Right.
Different kind of trees. I love it.
I did like, there's a little bit when Jyn and Andor are giving that rousing speech to the team.
Yeah.
Jyn ends it. She punctuates it with a "May the Force be with us," and Chirrut is just like, "Whoa!"
I wrote that down. Like, Jared loves that shit. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna risk it all for this."
I know I liked her with that necklace. It was for a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a beach down there, and everybody's feeling good about it. They're going to get a tan while they're saving the world. Krennic arrives at Scarif as well, and we almost get the "I've got a bad feeling about this" line. By the way, is The Last Jedi? No one says that.
I think someone's technically. I think Solo. No one says it.
Solo, no one says it.
Because technically says, "I've got a good feeling about this."
Oh, I was like,
Oh, they flipped the script there.
Yeah.
opposite day.
And that's why the fans don't like that move.
That's the one reason.
Yeah.
One and only.
They begin dispatching the troopers, right? Setting the charges.
Do you enjoy the nice callback where the trooper's like, "Oh boy, the T-16s
Yeah.
are out again." They go back to that. Oh well.
You're just a bunch of nerds reading like AutoZone magazines and shit. Yeah. And then K2's like pulling out the droid brain to see where the plans are and stuff, infiltrating his own kind. Krennic is there to get Galen's text message records.
All of them?
Yeah.
He was a messy bitch. He texted a lot.
K2 says that, look, man, there's 89 troopers in our path at the optimal route, which means we'll get 30% of the way there before we die. It's not looking good. But then they start blowing up setting all the charges up, which is what would happen if they didn't have their friends out there setting a diversion. Then boom, all the explosions go off. Deploy the garrison.
Are we blind?
Yeah, I love that Ben Mendelsohn's people are just like, oh God.
Oh no.
When I put in a request to work on the beach planet, sir, it was not to deal with this shit.
Yeah. I thought this was a vacation.
And yeah, that's what happens there. Tarkin sees what's up immediately. They're there to get the Death Star plans, I bet. Is that where the plans are?
Oh, great. I bet I can destroy the plans.
Two birds with one stone.
My rival in mediocrity. Here we
Fuck it,
go.
we're going to blow the whole planet up.
This is the worst thing he
where
does.
they're going to kill literally tens of thousands of Empire employees.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of shocking.
Tarkin
I know they're not good people, but damn.
Tarkin don't care.
But the rebels realize what's happening on Scarif. Oh no, we got to go.
Radis has already left us.
Everybody's going to help. Let's go.
I'm going to go blow some shit up. Who's with me?
It's a trap.
Tell Akbar he can stay behind. This is my time.
We get a 3PO and R2 cameo, of course. Wouldn't be a Star Wars movie without those fuckers.
Those fuckers.
And then beep boop beep boop. And then the AT-AT shows up. Or AT, what'd you say call it?
I think they're like ATCTs or something like that.
Yeah, the CTs. Nobody likes those.
No.
Chirrut, I love how he feels it. And he's like, base,
Move.
Rod.
Yeah.
I would have liked it more if he'd already was gone though.
Yeah, he's like,
You just see him in the background cooking.
I want to start going. How cool is that shot though when you see the smoke and then just for a second the wind kind of blows the smoke away, revealing like the ATS, the CT.
It's great.
And then it's hidden again. Like, ooh, that's so horrifying.
Makes it like well, Gareth, we got the Godzilla guy directing this, right?
Yeah.
It's good at this shit. Admiral Radis and the crew show up. They end up closing the planet hole at their arrival, though. They're not going to be able to get the message out past it.
Dude, how fucking cool is that? Like, I think this is the movie that started doing the thing where they would film X-Wings and stuff as if like they would put a GoPro on the X-Wing. So it was just, the
That,
ship is
tight
stationary.
person.
You can see everything moving around.
The sound design in this scene and the space battle that ensues is so like deliciously classic A New Hope too. Like it just like the sound design itself like sounds like that old movie. And they interlace clips during the roll call from that original film.
They have the original. They have unused footage from Gold Leader and Red Leader from A New Hope that they use.
Yeah. So just like the fact that like they really spent time to like make it sound right and look right, like because like you said, this is minutes before the opening of A New Hope.
They
Like,
have to put those dick helmets back on the rebel guys too.
they really spent time like making sure that this aligned well with that movie, and I really appreciate that.
And so there's Red Squadron, there's Gold Squadron. We're seeing the birth of Rogue Squadron, basically. But also there's Blue Squadron, which, fun fact about Blue Squadron, that was supposed to be the squadron in A New Hope. But they changed it to red because they used blue screens and they couldn't use X-Wings with little blue stripes on them, or that would like fuck with the effect. So they changed it to red. So this is how they kind of got Blue Squadron finally into the movies.
That's cool.
It's kind of a fun little...
Now we have the volume. It's fine.
It's fine. We don't need that shit.
Interesting. Yeah, so they need to get a hole back in the planet so they could. I mean, I'm not being funny. This is just facts. They need to put a hole back in the planet so they can get out of there. So that's what Radis is trying to do, right? So they can transmit the plans. K2 finally gets a blaster. That's kind of a special scene because they're in the actual like archives,
Yeah.
in the vault. And his last stand is pretty fucking epic. He takes out a lot of troopers. He does his best. He's like the most sensitive to gunfire droid despite his size, which is just realistic because they are lasers. But I feel like more other droids are a little more repellent, than he is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, he takes a lot.
He does, but
he's
his
not
buddy took one shot to the chest.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. That droid fell apart. That was a paper champ right there.
For sure. That guy had no chin.
K2 is a glass cannon.
Yeah, but he does a lot, man, and finally locks the door for him.
Did the guy who K2 like boops on the head die, or was he just like knocked out and then like wakes up and there's like all these dead bodies around him and like K2SO is like in shambles and smoking?
I think his vertebrae is shattered.
Yeah.
If Star Wars was rated R, that guy would just like his hat would sink down, but then like blood would just
That'd be awesome.
just like crushed his head in.
That'd be so good because of the white suits. There's so much. That'd be so metal.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rebels kill the AT-ATs super easy. And I said Luke must suck, but now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Probe that shield. And then K2 is taking those bitches out.
There's that part where he gets shot in the shoulder, and in one swift move, he like gets shot in the shoulder, grabs the pistol, and whips around and shoots the trooper.
Yeah.
So baller.
So good.
Yeah, he's fucking crushing it. He gets the most epic last stand, perhaps. And they simultaneously find Project Codename Stardust. Which did that not work for you, or were you just being funny?
What?
We made a joke earlier about naming his daughter after this.
Oh, it works for me. Like the idea that like
I like it.
The fact that she knows what it is because it's her name.
Yeah.
Like, I think it works.
Yeah.
It is kind of just of a funny.
Yeah, I'm naming this after my daughter.
Yeah.
Hopefully he did that so she would find it.
Yeah.
And not.
That's probably why. That's what I like to think. But
He should have named it Lyra.
Project Lyra. It doesn't sound as cool as Stardust.
I also think like it's pretty obvious to Krennic as well. Like, oh, he named it after his dead wife.
I'm just
like,
saying if
there's,
he
like,
wanted to name it.
something significant about this, but Krennic doesn't know about the nickname that he has for Jyn.
But as far as the symbolism of something that like ruins everything, I think it just would have been. And then the gang are pinned down near the master switch. And this is where like the method by which of transmitting a message from this planet is strange.
They have to get the shield down so that they can
they can like plug the thing in, hit the master switch for the end. It's a lot.
We got to plug in. Yeah, I don't understand why that random switch in the middle of this one island in the middle of nowhere is the switch that gets them. That's the thing that's like I don't really understand how this is.
But if you ever tried to set up like 2 routers to extend your Wi-Fi signal in your house, it tracks.
Yeah.
Wireless mesh.
It's tough to set up a mesh, but yeah. So they're trying to do all that shit. It's Melshi and the gang that are pinned down, by the way, by the master switch. Krennic busts them climbing up the
Tower
archives in the vaults and starts shooting at them. And we get this whole sequence. Eventually, Chirrut just walks over there because he's one with the Force, and the Force is one with him. Right? That's the thing you guys don't understand about Chirrut.
If there's actually, Chris, if there's one thing I know about Chirrut, is that he is one with the Force, and it is in return one with him.
Cassian gets shot. He falls down on the gangway there, and she climbs up without him.
This looks like it hurts too. Like
he hits everything coming down.
like every single branch of that column. Oof.
You know it hurt.
Yeah.
But at least he didn't fall to his
he's
death.
feeling that.
He's got that one little
Yeah.
That
thing
one
down there.
platform that's just there.
I would say he would feel that tomorrow, but
He won't.
no.
For good reason.
For all your pain relief, look at Stardust. It'll obliterate all your pain.
Chirrut is blown up. And I love
So sad.
Baze's, it's probably my fourth or fifth time watching this movie, but Baze's faith is restored because he talks about how he used to be really
He was one of the best guardians of the Wills.
a diehard Force believer, and he's really disenfranchised by it. And in this moment, his faith is restored.
So
and that's
was
how he
his
dies.
was his faith restored because he watched his buddy like walk through blaster fire to hit that switch, and he's like, "Oh shit, it's real!" Like I should have believed the whole time.
I should have been one with the Force so that it could also be one with me.
Yeah. It's too late now, though.
Yeah. I'm just going to wreck shop.
But he doesn't have that. Like, all of a sudden, his Gatling gun is like a pump shotty. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It's fine. It's got multiple fire modes. We've all seen those.
He's got to put another
It's like the
heat
guns
sink
from
in the chamber.
It's like the guns from Starship Troopers. They've got multiple fire modes, right?
Right,
We've all
fine.
played video games. We get it.
Sure.
Yeah. Then he dies. He dies too.
It's I'm gonna when Chirrut and Baze's last stand always kind of gets me. I'm always
Yeah.
kind of like tearing up a little bit.
It's good.
because Chirrut tells him like always look to the Force. You'll always find me. And it's like it's his buddy. And then when he goes on his little last stand and he kills the last of the super death squad troopers.
It's the Krennic's like personal guard.
Yeah. And I love the one trooper that's
Garble
like,
trooper.
I have a grenade. Ah.
Yeah.
But he looks one last time at his buddy.
I
before he gets
know
blown up.
that,
It's sad.
like I think that scene works well, but like if he didn't look at his friend right beforehand, like I don't think it would have hit quite as hard.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I'll be with you soon, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
But we know
buds.
Chirrut did not look at
when
him.
Steve dies on the battlefield, and then I lay waste to a bunch of dudes.
You're definitely gonna live longer.
Good
Yeah,
luck
yeah.
at Steve
Because
one last
Carissa
time.
shot me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Arya's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bodhi's blown up too. How are you guys feeling about Bodhi?
Dude, like we
Sad.
lose like half the cast in like 5 minutes here. Like it's crazy.
And I
how many
thought this was going to end well for them. But first, Radis says, we need a Hammerhead Corvette.
That Star Destroyer is mobilized. I have an idea.
Yeah.
We're gonna push it.
With a tiny ship.
I think this is a good idea.
No, it's a great idea.
It's super
That's
cool.
the whole point of the Hammerhead Corvettes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that they can push
But
shit.
like I feel like they could have like slowed down their approach just a little bit, not hit it so fucking
yeah.
hard. Like everybody on that bridge is like now like plastered
It's a
against the
Hammerhead
window.
Corvette.
Yeah.
I half
not a
expected
taphead.
you could see like airbags go off in the window
Right.
of the ship.
Because they hit this thing hard.
Got to.
Bodhi makes contact with them and he's like, hey, you guys got to blow up that ring so we can give you the plans. And,
That O-ring.
And that's when Radis has this idea. And Bodhi's like, this one's for you, Galen, right before the one sand trooper's like, here you go. Grenade.
Gotcha.
It sucks.
I know. Poor Bodhi.
Yeah.
He did it though. He served his function.
did.
He went to Force Heaven. They're pushing the destroyer, and Jyn is up there transmitting on the tower, but she's got to reset antenna alignment, and the fucking twin ion engine bastards come rolling in on her while she's doing that. She runs.
Real quick, I just have one before Jyn gets up there. There's that section where there's like a little tunnel she's got to climb up into, and it's got that little
That's terrifying. I just want to point out to you guys, I would not have made it.
I
I would
winking
not have
butthole
tried.
Door.
yeah the scary the scary butthole door.
It's a irritable bowel aperture.
This is a post Taco Bell door.
Irritable bowel.
What do they call
aperture.
that?
Sounds like a punk band.
I just want to know, what function does that serve?
I think it's
What is the point of that thing?
malfunctioning. I just assumed that it was a door that was like malfunctioning as a
Okay.
result of the trauma that the base was
Okay,
incurring.
Base trauma.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
A lot of base trauma.
No, that's how it's meant.
Yeah.
Only the best employees. Got to be quicker than that.
Yeah, if it was any of us, we wouldn't have made it. I would have like tripped as I tried to go for it and then got beheaded immediately.
I wouldn't have tried.
Do you think there's like a safety switch
would've
on there,
yelled
like
down
where
to-
it like senses that a body's in there and it's like, "Ugh."
I would have
like a
yelled at Andor and been
garage
like,
door?
man, we made it so far.
The door's closed. It sucks.
I mean,
it's just winking. Yeah, it's closed. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
No.
Sorry.
because you ever try, you've climbed up things, I imagine. Are you a hiker? You
Yeah,
know?
of course.
Sometimes it's like, oh, it's fine. But then like
Yeah.
about half of the time,
Sometimes you're like,
you get caught and
Yeah.
like, that would suck so bad for that to
get
be
it.
one of those times.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
fuck. But she's swift. She gets right up there. But yeah, she's up there. She's running the TIE fighters or something, shoots the bridge that she's on while she's running.
What do you guys think of the design of these TIEs? Because they're not
the
TIEs,
TIE
right? Like
strikers?
they're like single ion engines.
A couple of them, yeah, they're called TIE Strikers. They got like the fin on the top of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of the sides.
It's
They're
like
dope.
if like an interceptor and a TIE was like reconfigured in a very specific way.
Interceptor.
I
Ooh,
think
like that.
those are like a really cool ship.
Yeah, they're cool.
They are, yeah.
They're not as cool as a Lambda.
Well,
Kid loves a Lambda.
different kind of style of ship, but
It's a Lamborghini.
nice.
Very expensive. Only the officers use them. Yeah, it's shit going down up there, man. More pushy.
More pushy.
But then, huzzah! They push them into each other, and then they fall through the butthole.
Oh, how cool is that when they push the Star Destroyers into each other and they like the one opens the other like a tin can being
it's
opened
great.
up.
And you can see all the fucking fascists dying inside. It cuts to them.
There's that one fascist that like
Bonking your
slams his
heads.
head on a
Yeah.
console. Like,
And I love it's this. That's the difference. Like Baze shooting the trooper in the head one last time. That guy hitting his head on the table.
So a
That's
lot
the
of head
difference
trauma
between.
in this. The guy that gets bonked by K2SO.
I mean, that's
A lot of head
bonking.
trauma.
Yeah, especially with the bullet. He gives great head trauma. That's a good joke. Jyn,
that is a good one.
she's blown up on the bridge. Krennic shows up.
Who are you?
I literally need to know before I kill you. It's so such a mystery.
Who's this mystery woman who I haven't really seen?
Most men, would be like, who are you? Maybe we can salvage this.
Oh, hey, what's hey, you go to the gym ever? What's up?
I go to the gym. By the way, Felicity Jones, what happened? She hasn't been anything of value since
She was
2016.
RGB, no?
Red, green, blue? Ruth Gator.
Yeah.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG.
Yeah.
She was, but other than that, it's
RBG, sorry.
it's a nothing. It's a nothing, baby. I was looking at her IMDb, like, oh my God, I bet her career's fucking taken all the way off. It is not. I don't think it's like a bunch of stuff that's nobody's watching. I don't know. I just think she deserves better. You see what I'm saying?
On the basis of sex is the last thing of note she's done. That's weird.
She deserves better. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, the Cassian comes up, kills Krennic. Ships crash through the shield.
Well, actually, he doesn't kill him. But
What do you mean?
he plants a hot charge in his chest, but he dies from the blast, from the...
Oh, does he like
Big
look
blast.
up later
Yeah.
when I wasn't paying
He
attention?
gets scoped by the Death Star and it's awesome.
He gets hit by the
Yeah.
actual.
The laser
The
like
laser
hits
goes through
him.
the top of the tower.
Yeah, but like that before that shot of the laser going through, it cuts to Krennic like, no.
I don't think I want to make this one.
He wounds Krennic. They crash to the shield, and then they just fucking blow up Scarif. Jesus Christ, that's my note
crazy.
because it's wild. But Cassian and Jyn wait for death on the beach.
Do you think anybody's listening? It's so sad.
I know they don't even know if they did
If
anything.
it worked, yeah.
Stop. Stop.
I know.
It's such a powerful moment. I do laugh a little bit when they're on the beach and Andor goes, "Your father would have been proud of you." Because I'm just kind of like, I think he would prefer she wasn't here. Getting blown up by the machine he made.
But I mean, like, he's proud of the fact that they told the world how to destroy it.
Sure, but I
because his
still
whole
coming
goal was
from
to build it with
Cassian's
it.
really funny to me. Like,
But we know
that
she
guy
doesn't
I was
have.
going to kill. Totally proud of you, girl.
But he didn't.
Hey, I didn't.
We've established she doesn't have good parents. I think he would have been proud of her for being there.
Well, he's just proud of her. He's just proud of his daughter just because.
I like to think that. Never mind.
What?
When Galen was finishing up his plans and packaging them, Lyra showed up and said, "Wait a second," and ruined
From the
everything.
dead.
Back from the dead, I see. What a
no,
miracle.
back from the dead.
But that's not the end of the movie. They die on the beach. However, we cut to the foreskin foot soldiers receiving the transmission and trying to run to get the plans away. But the fucking door is stuck. And then we get, I think I can safely say, the coolest iteration of Darth Vader in action that
my
we'll
God.
ever get.
In a live action movie, yeah.
Yes.
This scene is fucking awesome. It's maybe my favorite scene in the movie. Maybe I love it because as a huge Star Wars
People
fan,
are saying.
people are saying,
Sorry,
Please don't ruin this awesome scene with
you
Trump.
went full
Please,
Trump
please.
on that for a second. I don't know.
Oh God.
rebels trying to get the plans out of the hallway. Not doing a great job. I would have done a great job. But Darth Vader, we love Darth Vader. He does the laser sword. He kills a lot of them.
He
They
does.
died like pigs.
You dipped into Bill Cosby there for us.
Rebel. Rudy.
Jello.
As a lifelong Star Wars fan,
Thank God.
you've always been told it was one of those things where everyone was like, Darth Vader's the baddest motherfucker on the planet. He's so dangerous. He killed all these Jedi.
You don't see it.
But you don't see it. And then in A New Hope, obviously because of the era it was made, his technical prowess isn't the coolest thing ever, right?
Right.
So this was the first time you finally got to see the power of Darth Vader on display. And it knocks it
Cranked
out
up to
the
11
park.
too.
It's horrifying. It's scary. Like when the music's crescendoing and he launches that dude up on the ceiling and then just slashes him as he walks by. And the people are like, help! They're like so scared. It's terrifying. And I'm so happy that I think this movie kind of bled into other media that we've gotten later where we've seen Darth Vader being just fucking terrifying. Like even in
Obi-Wan, he was pretty rough
Obi-Wan,
in that
but
one scene.
I'm thinking more of like Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
When Darth Vader spoiler alert for that game. When Darth Vader shows up at the end of that game, the game's like fucking run. Don't even try to fight him. And like,
there's
the level is just you trying to escape him.
There's a Star Wars arcade game that costs a lot of money because it's full VR at this arcade that I go to. And it's really cool because it's VR and you get to use the Force and you get to like grab things and throw it and you have a lightsaber and stuff. But eventually you get to Darth Vader and I'm convinced you just literally can't beat him. And it's just trying to take your money because he's Darth Vader. So no matter what you do, he fucks you up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's how it should be because he's
Yes.
supposed to be unstoppable, you know? Yeah, I agree with you. I think this scene's incredible.
And then it started
think
the long tradition of really awesome Star Wars hallway scenes. Because since this movie, we got the Luke Skywalker Mandalorian season 2 hallway scene. We got the Darth Maul and Clone Wars finale hallway scene. It's just all these hallways that love to have cool scenes in them.
I think so. I agree with 100% of what you just said. Like I've got all that in my notes. The one thing I want to add is I think the reason this scene works so well too is the fear from the crew.
Yeah.
Like the palpable fear you see on their faces and like as they realize like there is no way that we're ever going to win this.
Take it.
And they pass the card through the slot. I think their reactions to him like
Sell it.
just make it just push it over the top of being like incredible. This is an awesome scene.
Yeah, it's so good. But
I get goosebumps every time I see this scene. Like it never doesn't hit me the same way. It's awesome.
and then the message makes it to CGI Leia.
Yeah, they launched, and surprise, the Tantive 4 was in General Radiss's ship the whole time, and it poops out the ship. And
speaking of poop, too, the crew runs down the hall, presumably to change their pants because of that encounter that they just had with Vader.
Yeah, and they give the plans to a CGI Leia, who the Captain Antilles is like, "What have they brought us, ma'am? I was not present during the mission brief." And she just says, "Hope."
Yeah.
No, seriously, I need to know what to call the file.
I really need to know. Like, I
did control, rename.
I'm not telling you.
Just call it Hope, I guess.
I'm going to be coy.
Death_star_plans, final V2.
So she puts the Death Star plans into R2 in addition to the message. Is that right?
Yeah.
Interesting. So he can hold a lot of data.
Yeah.
A lot of gigs in that what's he called?
Chassis.
Astromech droid.
Astromech droid. A droid that's designed to fix like scrapes on a ship.
Yeah.
Just a massive amount of data can be stored. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
He's just a big old hard
Go
drive
on.
of,
He's got a hard what?
hard drive.
A big old hard drive.
Hard drive.
But that's the end of Rogue One. Now we have to do the medal ceremony. We'll leave it for the end.
Yeah.
Let's do the medal ceremony. Mr. Phil.
Okay, so I think while this movie presents the rebellion in a gritty, like raw form, like a way we haven't really seen before, like we've had it in other movies, but like we've never seen it quite like as grounded and real as it is in this movie. I honestly think there's no better example of Darth Vader being Darth Vader than in this movie. And as Steve said, like, he is at his prime here. We had been told for 40 years up at that point that he was this genocidal, awful dude. But like, we only saw him choke a few of his own men and I guess Captain and Antilles.
He did that one with his mitts.
And then he killed Obi-Wan and he threw an old man down a shaft. But like beyond that, like he didn't really lay waste to like troops like this. So the fact that we've finally seen it, there is no better example of Vader being Vader in this moment. And I'm not counting the turn in 3 because to me that's I know that's Vader, but like
it's pre-Vader.
Yeah, like the Vader that we know
some people
from
as a pilot in the OG trilogy, doesn't he? As a like in dogfights.
Yeah, this in dogfight. Yeah.
I mean, like saber to
no,
body
for sure. I just thought we were tracking all Vader kills.
Right.
That's all.
No. You are right. But like we don't see him act on what we've been told until this moment. So it took like 40 years to get to this point, and it was just so crazy to actually see it and to have it live up to what the expectations
It's
were.
the first time we get to see the full Darth Vadusi, is what you're saying.
Yes. It's just, there is no better version of him in his full scary form than this. So I'm going to give that.
The Darth Vader Award presented by Phil.
Yes.
Sponsored by
Geico.
Red Robin.
15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Oh, man. Yum. I'm giving the award of
wait, this award's sponsored by BetterHelp.
Yes. Yeah. For clarification, BetterHelp. Yeah. I'm giving this movie the award of like just best depiction of war.
Yeah.
I think like, cause I mean, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. I mean, the ground battle of this movie is so, it shits on every other ground battle up to this point in the Star Wars universe. Like it's so good in the fact that it looks good, it's choreographed well, and also there's emotional stakes with these characters as well. Like when people die, you feel it, and it's great. But also even the space battle, I would argue the space battle in this movie shits all over most other space battles in Star Wars. Like I think the only one even I can think might be better is Return of the Jedi, because that's just one of my favorite space battles in Star Wars, period.
Agreed.
Space.
So that's what I'm giving it, is award for war.
Okay. Best war, most Vadusi. Can't disagree with those.
What's the Kit Laser award?
Best droid.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. 100%.
Sad beeps.
K2SO. My dude.
He's a good droid. He's a good droid.
He's the goodest boy. Maybe
climb.
I wish they could download his personality to one of the ships, because the Falcon is L13 or whatever.
L3, yeah.
L3.
L337.
Just random.
Which spells leet in
It does.
speak.
Leet speak.
Yeah, leet speak.
Well, that brings us to the moment everybody's been waiting for, our complete streaming things ranking.
Yes.
So do we want to get the elephant out of the room first and like put Solo in a place before we do Rogue
Absolutely.
One? Okay.
Rogue One's at the bottom. Or Rogue One is, last.
Because we sort of, Phil and I sort of said how it fell in our personal rankings, but we weren't sure where you would rank it. We didn't want to like rank it.
Well, let's catch everybody up. At number 1, we've got Empire, and then Last Jedi, then Force Awakens, then A New Hope, then Revenge of the Sith, and then Return of the Jedi, and then Phantom Menace, then Attack of the Clones, followed at the very bottom by, after a huge gap,
The
Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
That's how we're feeling it right now.
I agree.
I think I'm much lower on Solo than you guys. I do think it belongs right above Rise of Skywalker. It's a fun movie. Here's my argument. There's some swashbuckling. It's a fun movie. I love Alden Ehrenreich as a person, as an actor. I don't know him as a person, as an actor. I don't think it seems like a young Han Solo to me in this movie. I think Emilia Clarke, you can tell that it's a bad movie just because she's in it, because she is the worst agent of all time.
She does have a rough agent.
Post Game of Thrones. Dude, she's in the worst MCU thing ever, the worst Terminator of all time.
Yep.
And then this movie, one of the worst Star Wars, like Fire the Agent. I love Emilia Clarke to death. Daenerys for life. Woody Harrelson in one of the worst wigs I've ever seen. A bunch of fan servicey garbage things that no one's ever cared about. A backstory of someone no one's ever cared about. Not that nobody cared about Han Solo, but nobody cared like, oh, I want to see the Kessel Run.
Oh.
Like, has anyone ever said that?
I literally said it in the podcast.
I wouldn't just say that.
Sorry.
I think you're right. There's a lot of fan service, but I think it works for people like us because we are like lifelong fans, and now they're more of a casual fan.
There are fan servicey things that like drive me nuts in that movie, like the fucking dice and the
inclusion of Darth Maul to no end. Like, how cool would that be if they'd done something with it?
Well, I mean, if that movie hadn't not made its money, it probably would have done something with it.
The last reason I hate this movie, this movie would have been amazing because Lord and Miller had a version of this movie that I'm sure was amazing. And then they brought in Ron Howard to just like do the most boring shit you could imagine. Okay. And they was like, oh, okay, I'm pretty good at that. And
they wanted a steady hand.
Yes,
to right the ship,
and I do think because there's some good stuff in here, like the double train heist sequence.
Oh my god,
love a train level.
Is cool for me.
Yeah,
I like the character and idea of Enfys Nest, and
Did you like the Enfys twist?
I didn't hate it. I do. It's kind of funny watching it a second time because the twist is basically she's a girl, which is silly.
Yeah.
And nobody loves Paul Bettany more than I do. I don't think.
Well, his wife.
I don't think so. To me and the Borgullet. I just don't think it's fair to put this commercial grab above even the worst George Lucas projects on a Star Wars ranking. I don't think this movie, while it does have some fun sequences, I don't think it has any soul.
Solo.
And you got the childish Lando and all this stuff. It can be fun at times, but anyway, that's my argument why it should be right above Rise of Skywalker. Anyway, that's my argument. Where you guys want to put it? I mean, are you going to put it like above Phantom and shit? Like
Absolutely.
I fucking hate Phantom.
So we agreed that it would be above Episode 1, 2, and Rise. It's a much more rewatchable film for us.
Darth Maulskis?
Yeah, those are cool.
Pippin?
I was charmed.
Pippin's in there?
I literally was so funny. I tried to say Palpatine.
And you said
and I
Pippin.
Just said Pippin. And then I stared at you like I meant to say that and tried to recover.
It worked though, because I was like, tell me more, Pippin.
Do it. Unlimited power.
Unlimited kisses.
It's Pippatine.
The Chancellor should have never brought them into this.
Anyway,
sign the treaty.
There's so much to love about Phantom Menace and even Attack of the Clones. Like, at least there's actual Star Wars there.
I think there's actual Star Wars in Solo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where? Show me the Star Wars.
All of it, man.
Did you watch the movie?
Unfortunately, I've seen it twice.
I think Solo.
This is the only movie other than Rise that is actually, for some reason that I try to parse out later, difficult for me to finish. Like, I have zero interest scene to scene. Whereas like Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, like there's a lot of the time where I'm like, oh man, what a choice. But like, I'm never like, I need to turn this off.
I fundamentally disagree with all of what you just said.
We can't disagree. It's my experience.
like for me, I had the complete opposite.
Like, you want to turn off of the prequels.
Episode 2 almost killed me this last time. I was like,
even
watching
at
it late
1.5
night,
speed.
Yes, even at 1.5 speed. I'm like, I don't want to keep watching this movie. It's bad. But this movie, we watched it together with some pizza, and it was fucking great. We had a blast.
We had pizza and friends. That's better than Attack of the Clones.
Yes. Look, I will put it below Phantom for you, but there's no fucking way it's below Episode 2. Episode 2 is trash. So I can't go that low. But I will get like, I will throw you half of a bone here.
I appreciate your willingness to negotiate with
There's no
terrorists.
way that Episode 2 is better than this movie.
My last thing, and obviously I'm not convincing anybody, but I just think from a moral standpoint, like if you're a good person,
oh shit.
Straw man, I'm sorry. The flaws with the prequels are the flaws of an auteur maybe being given too much reign, but he goes astray in our opinion, right? But it's just one man with a mad dream that nobody likes. The issues with Solo and Rise of the Skywalker, that's why I put them together in my mind. They're the same. They are movies by committee, by people who don't understand Star Wars, trying to make movies about what they think you two want, and they don't understand at all.
Star Wars specifically, yes, like George Lucas did not hit the marks for the prequels, but I find Solo more watchable than two of his movies because I had a better time watching those movies. Yeah. So I don't care who made it. It, to me, hits the points that I want it to hit, and I had a good time. I don't care what the fandom thinks. I don't care what like who made the movie. What I care about is the people in the movie, and the movie itself work for me. So
we already know how you feel.
I'll put it below fandom.
We can do that.
That's fine.
We can do that.
I don't want to disappoint our podcast listeners. I want to put up a good fight.
Stand up for what you believe in, sir.
I want to put up a good fight for once. And I knew it was a toughie.
You didn't put enough fight in for Revenge of the Sith.
I know.
And people still give you shit for that one.
They'll never forgive me. That's what that's what rebels do. We rebel.
Rebellions are built on hope. Okay, so we putting Solo below Phantom Menace?
We are. At number, currently without Rogue One, it would be...
Without Rogue One, we're at 8. It's at 8.
Okay, wonderful. It'll be 9 by the... Okay, here's another... I'm gonna come out of the gate swinging.
Do it.
I want to put Rogue One at number 1.
Dude, I'm with you. I'm with you on this. This is my favorite Star Wars movie.
I love that for you.
I love that for you. Well, tell us your opinion.
I think we both agree, but I think I said it best in my Letterboxd review as far as how I feel about this, as far as like why it's so important for me. I think that it unearths the crux of the entire franchise, fighting for freedom no matter the odds, right? This is the DNA that built Andor, one of the other best things Star Wars has ever done. It's my favorite of the franchise. What chance do we have? What choice do we have? Rebellions are built on hope. The first movie is called A New Hope, and it leads into this. That's the whole reason they keep saying hope in this movie. But it's a back to the roots, but done better version of what Star Wars is at its core. People fighting against fascism, against all odds, and sacrificing themselves for it. But a realistic version of that, of people forced to do things that would get them canceled, in service of the rebellion.
This is a nearly flawless red carpet into the movie that kicked this whole thing off, and the fact that they nailed it so well is impressive. That they not only made a prequel to one of the most important parts of Star Wars as a whole, but they made it right up against it, and they nailed it. Like, they absolutely nailed it. So I think that's a really, really difficult task, especially with the fan base that it has. But also, it's just a really good movie. Like, I don't know, like, I think I have a hard time, like, imagining if I didn't know anything about Star Wars, would I still enjoy this? Like, would I have enough context to be like, this is a complete film, or would I be confused? I don't know, because I'm too close to it at this point. But I think this is just such a good example of what modern cinematic Star Wars could be, grounded within a 1970s look and feel for what they started out doing 40 years before this movie came out. It's just so good. And I think it edges out Empire Strikes Back just a little bit, but I think this is my number 1.
Steve, what say you?
What say you? In my personal ranking, I would put Rogue One as number 2. There's very few things that can overtake Empire for me on this ranking, but I mean, Rogue One comes close to it. I think the only thing that's really holding it back for me, at least, is I do think that the second act is a little weak. And I also think that I see this movie less as a full, complete movie on its own, and more of just like a nice little treat. Like, if you're a big fan of A New Hope, like, this is just a real big sweet treat. Yeah, that just happens to be better than most of the other movies in the franchise. So that's why I always give Empire the leg up in this race for me personally. However, I'm not going to fight you guys if you guys want to put it as number 1.
Number 1,
it's got to be 1.
Let's do it. Okay.
Number 1.
Which means that makes the official Streaming Things ranking of Star Wars at number 1, Rogue One. Number 2, The Empire's.
How fun. The number 1 is Rogue One.
Rogue number 1.
What?
Number 2, Empire Strikes Back, The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens, A New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi,
Phantom Menace,
Solo, A Star Wars Story, Attack of the Clones, The Rise of Skywalker.
There you go. That's the official Streaming Things Star Wars ranking.
And I would put Andor up there somewhere in the top 4, top 3.
I would put Andor probably as like number 2, number 1. I really like Andor.
Where would you put Rebels?
Probably around 9 or 10.
Oh, okay. What about Clone Wars?
8.
Oh, right up there.
Yeah,
So,
I like Clone Wars a little bit more than Rebels.
what about Visions?
No, I've only seen one episode of Visions.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't watched the whole thing.
The samurai one that I've watched twice?
The one with the umbrella
Yeah.
lightsaber? Yeah,
I've watched that one twice.
The umbrella lightsaber is so fucking stupid, but I love it.
Oh, it's so fun.
It's so cool, especially in that style of animation. It works.
Yeah,
I don't know if
obsessed with samurai stuff.
I don't know if you could pull that off in like a live action sense, but in animation,
Zack Snyder could.
could he?
They'll only take like 5 stabs at it each time. Well, now it's time for the Mad Libs, right, guys?
Oh my gosh, Phil coming in hot. It is time for the Mad Libs. This is the story that these two guys helped me create in the beginning of the episode. It's our very last Mad Libs Star Wars themed. Let's see how it goes.
The Womp Womp Rats.
Oh, that's a cool band name.
Good one.
It actually is.
All right, so this story is called The Weapons of the Empire by Emperor Palpatine.
Oh, he wrote this.
He wrote it's from his memoirs. It is useless to resist the thirsty power of the Empire. We have an arsenal of weapons that cause our enemies to shake and their underpants.
Ooh,
Fits really well.
works. Yeah.
Our greatest achievement is the Death Biscuit. A space station that can destroy an entire mitten with a limp blast.
A lip blast.
That's actually awesome.
The Imperial Star Destroyers are much smaller and faster than the Death Starfish, but are still functional bases for storm mussels. My favorite weapons are the Imperial Walkers, tanks that look like nautical.
That look nautical.
They look nautical.
They look nautical, yeah. I should take out that like metal beasts that can transport diapers across the battlefield. All while a pilot at the front blasts the enemy dumps with lasers. Carrying diapers, blasting dumps.
Yeah. And the other rest is all ocean related.
Blasting makes me feel
dumps.
good. Now that you are aware of all the power in the Empire's apple, you'll think twice about trying to worm against it. I changed it to worm.
There you go.
Worm against it.
Perfect.
Nailed it. Good.
All right, well,
that's our story.
stay tuned for all the Boys and House of the Dragon coverage coming next week. The week after that, after Attack the Block and When Harry Met Sally. Phil,
Guys, thank you so much for having
You
me
are
on these
free.
11 past weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a blast. Thanks for having me on and doing this with me.
over 2 months.
I know.
Your
gosh.
family will be pleased to have
I'm
you back.
honestly going to be like, I don't know when the next time I'll see you guys is. So that's sad.
It's over. See ya.
See you in October, I guess.
See you never.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have an acolyte party or something.
Yeah.
That sounded weird. The show.
Yeah. I will be
Not cult stuff.
tuning in for the boys though, because I can't wait for that. So
Hey man, feel free to leave a voicemail with your thoughts on certain things or something like that. We'll put you on the show.
Yeah.
Little segment we call Filled with Phil.
Filled with Phil.
How about that?
one wants
Getting
that.
filled up. How about let's get
filled
all right,
up.
listeners, let's get filled up.
Oh, I'm loving this.
Thank you
No
so
one wants
much.
that.
It was an honor to have you here
Same,
and a
same.
pleasure.
Thanks.
Sorry it took so long. I know it's painful. We're stuck here. You don't have to do this though. That's all the time we've got for right now. Let's return some videotapes. My name is Kit,
I'm Phil.
And I'm Steve.
and this was Streaming Things, streaming Star Wars. Now it's over.
Oh.